You're watching the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Now it's time for the Brent and Austen Show.
Hey, welcome into the final week of the Jacksonville Jaguars offseason. They hit the break coming up on Friday, and they'll be gone. Now, listen, the rookies actually stay around for another couple of weeks, so it's a long offseason for them as well. But everybody else breaks for about 4 or 5 weeks, and then they come back, and we've got the start of a football season. That includes the coaches, too. The coaches will get away a little bit. Everybody's been putting in a lot of work down there at the Jags headquarters for the last few months as this new regime takes over. And could they be making more moves? Would they be interested in making a move of the Jair Alexander sorts? We'll get to that right away, probably on the show. Little Nick Chubb to Houston news. How do they continue to build their roster versus how the Jaguars are building their roster going into 2025? And a bunch of stuff coming off the weekend, by the way, from UFC to Coco Gauff to Alcaraz. If you watch any of the tennis, fantastic. Some college baseball in there. Oh, and the NBA Finals now all squared 1-1. Some good hockey games as well. There's at least one hockey game over the weekend, another OT one. So a lot to get to. Austen Lane down South Florida. I'm now up in New York. I was thinking of this. Jason Hamby back in the studio. We do well. We like to do roll call once in a while. We should probably do it more often because I kind of like roll call. Where's everybody listening from? But Austen, we should probably roll call ourselves of how many different places on a map we've actually done the show from.
Yeah, it's a good point, man. I mean, I'm bringing Vegas, I'm bringing Oregon, obviously South Florida. I don't think I've been to Wisconsin and done a show yet, but yeah, I've been all over. Oh, have I?
When you were in the hospital.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, I mean, that whole thing was a blur. Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yes.
Hey.
Boston, Wisconsin, I was in. Correct.
Hey, here's the deal. You've done the show from the hospital, and you fight for a living, and it wasn't you in the hospital.
Exactly, man. Yeah, that's what I call commitment.
That's right. We might have to do that. I might have to start looking it up. I mean, heck, I've done a lot of shows from a pickup truck, so that pickup truck has been in a lot of different places.
Without a doubt.
We'll always take the show on the road. You might hear some cars buzzing by today. I'm on the front porch here up in New York, in Elmira, New York, believe it or not. Hey, Jair Alexander, a guy you're familiar with. We talked about this guy a bunch. All of a sudden, it looks like the Packers now are going to release him. They tried to trade him, couldn't do it. Any interest in Jair Alexander?
You know, we talk about Jair Alexander. This was a guy who was a former All-Pro, one of the best cornerbacks in the league a few years ago. And I think if you ask a lot of Packers fans how they feel about him, they feel like he's really fallen off the past couple of years in terms of his playing ability, in terms of giving up big plays, in terms of what he's bringing to the locker room, maybe being a little bit of a distraction. So I think it speaks volumes that it's been known they're trying to get rid of him, and nobody wanted to give any kind of draft capital. Nobody wanted to sacrifice anything in terms of a trade to get Jair Alexander. Now, obviously, you have Campanelli here, who has a lot of experience with Jair Alexander. My only caveat with that would be well, what would the plan be then, right? Because you've addressed a little bit of corner in free agency. Not saying Caleb Branshaw is going to play corner because Caleb Branshaw is probably going to be playing safety, but I guess the biggest question is how can you see him playing in this defense then? Because you do have a guy in Travis Hunter as well, and we get it. He's not going to play 100% of the reps on defense, but he will play a percentage of them. So is there enough reps to go around if you bring in Jair Alexander?
Yeah, I think this is always an interesting one, right? Jair Alexander is a pretty good name, and he's obviously played some good ball. So I think there's two things that I ask if I'm the Jags. One, you have a guy that's familiar with him in Campanelli, to your point. You also have people that are familiar with LaFleur and connected there a little bit and can do a little bit deep diving on who he is and how he's playing if you really go that route. But the other thing is he better than Jarian Jones, right? That's the guy right now that it looks like you're going to try to put out there. And is Jarian Jones just a better option for you at that corner spot? And like I've said many times, you got to find out what you have in some of these guys, right? Great to pick up Jordan Lewis, but what that does is if Jarian Jones, who was a third-round pick, you actually stunt his growth potentially if you don't let him out there and play and see what you have. The other guy that's been doing pretty well, by the way, at camp, from what I hear and they like, is Buster Brown, and he's got some experience. He's made some actual big plays for the Jacksonville Jaguars. So I don't know if it makes sense. I think there's a fit that could happen, Austin, but it's also one of those things where you have a lot of information on a guy, and you're maybe Campanelli, if he's still part of Green Bay, is thinking the same way the Green Bay Packers are thinking. Like, we're not going to sign him to an extension, and if we don't get a deal that we like, we don't think it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is going to be Campanelli's call regardless, right? Because he knows him the best. So I'm sure, whether it's James Gladstone, whether it's Liam Cohen, I'm sure they're picking Campanelli's brain right now and just saying, like, hey, what can he bring to the team? What does he have to offer? And then, of course, how much is it going to cost as well? And I guess the biggest question, like I just said, where if you choose to bring in Alexander and he's a part of this roster, okay, so then if it's 3rd and long, the game's on the line, 4th quarter, well, who's coming out then? Is Alexander coming out? Is Travis Hunter coming out? Is Campbell coming out? Like, what would that look like then? And I seriously can't answer that question.
Well, I almost kind of want you to answer that question, but let's take a different task. Okay. Let's say the Jags open the season. Let's leave Hunter out of it for a little bit more of a package deal type thing, right? And we leave Hunter out of it for now, and we've got Tyson Campbell on one side, Jarian Jones on the other side, Jordan Lewis. Are you happy with that? Are you pretty confident in that coming out of the gates with the first month of the season from Carolina to then Cincinnati? And that will be the real test, right? We got Cincinnati in that second week, and then Houston too, and what they've been able to add. You feel pretty good if it's those three. I'm not telling you it's going to be those three. We're pretty sure it's going to be Jordan Lewis and Tyson Campbell. But if it's Jarian Jones in that other spot, you're pretty happy with what the Jags have. They're running out of the gates.
Of course, because once again, I mean, it's not going to be full time, but they're going to bring in Travis Hunter a bit. So yeah, I'm completely happy with that, because it's more of, yes, I'm optimistic that these players can play at a pretty high level, but I'm also even more optimistic that the defensive play calling of Campanelli is going to be a lot better than we saw last season.
And then I guess I will bring Hunter into the mix, because we've talked about him so much. Obviously, just got done talking about him really for a week straight with our interview with him. And by the way, that's up actionsportsjacks.com. You can see it in its entirety. We continue to push that out. Do you think the best use of him is in money downs, money spots, 2-minute drills, red zones, those kind of things?
Yeah, I mean, listen, I think the best way to use him is probably for the complete game, because what he's shown so far, what I've heard at camp, like the dude's shown like he can pick up playing defense pretty well off the get-go. So I want to see him play as much as possible. Now, obviously, you have to balance the reps. Yes, I'd rather see him play more on offense than defense, but yeah, if it's money downs, if it's games on the line, or whether it's just like a special package for him, yeah, I mean, that's what I can see happening, but it'll definitely be more on offense.
Yeah, it's going to be more on offense. I've heard some people suggest, I can't remember where I heard this, and this wasn't like inside the building thing, and I heard somebody suggest, yeah, he's just going to play like in the red zone. And maybe it was on our show. Maybe it was in the chat, and I can't remember now exactly. But I was thinking a little bit about that more, and I'm like, well, that's not enough. Like, right? I mean, you can't just, and I think I said it in real time when we were talking about it. It's like, you can't, hopefully you keep teams out of the red zone, right? So you got to get him, if you're going to get him on the field, one, to keep him happy because he wants to do it. Two, to put him in a position to make plays. Then you've got to use him more than just outside the red zone. Like, it just doesn't make sense just to say, hey, when we get to that package, that's why you need third down packages. That's why you might need end of the half packages, other things like that to get Travis Hunter on there. So I guess while we're talking, it's like, Jair Alexander, pretty good name, but kind of a no thanks deal for me. That's the way I feel. Like, it's like, I'm cool.
Yeah, same. Because once again, like, how much is it going to cost you? You know what I'm saying? So if it comes at a giant discount, which I'm sure, knowing him, I don't think it's going to come at a giant discount. Yes, then yes, I'm all set.
But is there a position right now you would pay? Like, hey, if somebody came available, and I know that changes, right, from a Trey Hendrickson to a Jair Alexander, that you're like, man, like, save the money for that in case at the trade deadline something comes available and you can go get X player. I will lead into this with saying there was a rumor over the weekend, like a Kyle Pitts, right? I mean, Kyle Pitts might become available. That's been a hotter rumor, but there was a link to the Jags for Kyle Pitts. So is that one of the spots where you're like, hey, if we can find an X player that might cost us a little bit of money, let's save this pool of money for this position instead?
Be honest right here about Pitts, Austin.
No, I mean, I'm gonna be honest about Pitts. Like, am I a Pitts addict? Will I draft him this year in fantasy football? Absolutely. But at the end of the day, like, and I'm not sure how much he's gonna cost you, but you just let a receiving, tight end go in Evan Ingram. So my argument would be, all right, well, if you're gonna invest in Kyle Pitts, and I get that he's younger, right? Like he's probably the more exciting name even than Evan Ingram. Even though Evan Ingram had a career year a couple years ago. I would just beg to go, okay, so you let Evan Ingram go, who I feel like was a locker room leader, who was intangibly rich, and now you're bringing in an unproven Kyle Pitts, who I assume you're probably going to have to pay a decent amount of money for. I'm not sure if I see the logic in that.
Yeah, Daniel says, I think to this question, offensive guard, YB 400, we can use Hunter until he gets tired. Yeah, I don't know if he's going to get tired either. I think Austin has Pitts PTSD. I'm not sure if he has PTSD or if he's just so dang competitive that he is going. I get this way, right? You're going to take him until he finally figures it out.
I just want to see it through, man. Right? I just want to. I mean, for the 3 times that I've taken him in the first, or not the first round, but like in my fantasy football draft, I just want to see it actually like pay dividends for once. So yeah.
Yeah, I think I agree with you, man. I've been like that in other things where it's like, listen, I'm ride or die at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to be the guy that doesn't have my roster when he actually does perform the way we think he's going to perform.
Exactly.
Right? And that's the Braves. The Falcons are probably afraid the Braves might be able to get better use out of Kyle Pitts than the Falcons have had. But the Falcons are probably thinking the same thing. It's like, my goodness. So as soon as he goes away from here, he's going to become the guy that we think he is. And he's still a very young guy, by the way, Kyle Pitts. I think he's.
Oh, I know. Because the dude constantly, like, if I'm on social media, he lives my algorithm. Like all like the pro Kyle Pitts, guys out there that they live rent-free in my algorithm. Yeah, he's only like 17 years old, so like he's still got a couple years ahead. It's just all this stuff, and it's like, man, he has metrics in terms of run after the catch and all. It's just like, yeah, I get it. I'm probably gonna draft him again if he's on the Jaguars. Cool. Doesn't make a lot of sense. Not really sure, but regardless, I get it.
Yeah, it is. It's pretty wild. Hey, YB400 said, what's the schedule for mini camp? It's a good question. Tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday. I'm always interested to see if they'll break camp a little early for the veterans. That's happened before under Doug Peterson. That's happened before with the Jags. Who knows if that happens? But just so you guys are aware, the schedule is in the morning, 9 to 11. Action Sports Jacks will be out there. So tomorrow, Wednesday, Thursday, it's going to be a lot of Jason Hamby and Casey Kurtz and Austen Lane on the show, and not much of Brent, but they'll have it covered. And Olivia Tassley, Marcel Robinson be bringing us some interviews. And we even have Parker Washington, Tank Bigsby over the next couple of days, maybe both today, that we'll even get to. So a lot to get to with the Jags camp, as this will be the final week. Also, what's kind of interesting is Jordan Lewis is talking tomorrow on the podium, along with Udinsky and Cohen. Cohen and Campanile will talk on Wednesday. And who else is talking that day? Oh, Travis Hunter. Travis Hunter is talking that day. And on Thursday, it'll be Liam Cohen and Trevor Lawrence. So it's going to be a big week of Jag stuff, and kind of put a bow on it. And some of that is kind of how we feel at the end of this week, because now, again, it's like it's the real go time, right? This has been real shorts and everything else so far to this point. YB400 says, feels like Liam will have this offense confusing the defense. I talked to the assistant coaches, and I feel like we do this a lot, Austin, when we get new regimes, and we've had a lot of practice in this for the Jags. But I thought it was pretty good. Some of the assistant coaches were like, you could see almost like a twinkle in their eye of loving the fact that people don't know exactly what the Jags are going to do offensively and defensively early in the season. They're like, heck yeah, man, we're using that to our advantage. So like there is something real to that where they really won't showcase. Behind closed doors, they'll be repping it and practice it, installing it and everything else. But I just don't think even in front of like this open practice on Wednesday, you're not going to see some of that stuff, or they're not going to have the video to show some of that stuff. I still wrestle in my mind how much of a factor that really is. Like, how long does that last? Even these guys will say football's football, right? But we do think there are some intricacies of the Liam Cohen offense. Like, I'm really interested to see just how difficult this is. Is it exactly like Tampa? Did he morph Tampa because there are a lot of talk that he did to their playmakers? How much does he morph to these playmakers? Remember, players over plays. And then really the defensive side of it, and one you've watched a little bit, but Campanelli's new now. So what does he take from all his different stops, from the Vic Fangios to the Green Bays to other places, and really put it into play here with Jacksonville, where he's got some veteran players to try some things and a lot of tape to see what they do well. I almost think the defense could be more fascinating to unveil itself than even the offense.
Yeah, I mean, obviously the defense has a lot of ground to make up from last season. And it's going to be interesting because you saw Green Bay have a lot of success last year. Can that carry over now to Jacksonville with Campanelli? And listen, I'm a defensive guy, but I think the thing I'm most excited about, set aside from Travis Hunter, obviously how he's used and everything, but the thing that I'm most excited about is how does Liam Cohen use these wide receivers? Right? Like, yeah, we assume that they're going to run the ball a little more. It's going to be a little more successful. Like, that's obvious. But to me, it's going to be, well, how do you line up Brown? How do you line up Thomas Jr.? How do you line up Hunter? Like, is Hunter going to be in the slot sometimes on the outside? Is Brian Thomas Jr. going to be in the slot sometimes? Like, that's what I'm most excited about, because I feel like now you have a wide receiving core that doesn't necessarily have this one title. They can do a lot of different things. And you saw that last year with Brian Thomas Jr., how finally when they started giving him some targets and everything, it was all over the place. So that's what I'm probably most excited for, Brent. And once again, being a defensive guy, is how does Liam Cohen utilize these wide receivers?
Hamby, let me get you in on this. Are you more excited to see the offense unveil itself? Again, this will be in, let's talk the first month of the year, or the defense. And most people do lean offense. I get it, and that's fine if you do. And you and YB 400, man, you guys are like this. He just said it as you were starting that sentence. He said, we really have three receivers that can do the same thing. So that will be fascinating to see. And Daniel, by the way, we need a Smoot interview. You can find it on our YouTube channel. Just go to Action Sports Jacks, because it's up there. Marcel Robinson's interview with DeJuan Smoot. I believe it's up there. If it's not, we'll get it up there.
And it's on
YouTube.
YouTube.
The Mason Smith one is from Friday is up there as well. So we did catch up with Smoot exclusively last week. All right, so Hamby, what do you think? Offense or defense?
No, I think you have to go offense. I don't think there's any way that you can hire a first-year coach who is, was hired for what he can do for Trevor Lawrence and what he can do to offensive schemes, and say anything other than that. But I will take the other way for the sake of the argument, and I do still think the defense will be very interesting, simply because of, as we've mentioned quite often, it can't get any worse than last year. So any amount of takeaways that we get in the first couple weeks of the year is going to feel such like a breath of fresh air, to be like, oh wow, that's what it's like to get 2 turnovers in a football game again. That's what it's like to get a sack on third down when you really need it. Like, those are the things, that we didn't see at all last year. At least at some points in last year, we saw a little bit of offensive success. So if we're starved with anything, it has been for defensive takeaways and big plays on defense. So you can definitely make the argument that, man, that first sack or that first forced fumble is going to be like, man, feels like it's been 2 calendar years since we've seen it.
Yeah, I don't know if you're getting it's still hearing me. I look frozen on my end, but hopefully I'm okay audio-wise. Austen, a couple other things before we let you get out of here. Someone mentioned the O'Malley fight. I mean, take us to Saturday night, man. That was I even had my kid text me at like 1 a.m. Now, that was a long day. I got up early, so I was already in bed. But he's like, hey, did you see that fight?
Yeah, so you talk about, well, first of all, shout out to a girl that I trained with here at American Top Team, and Kayla Harrison. She was the co-main event, took the belt off Juliana Pena in an absolute dominating fashion. So shout out to her, first of all. A great fighter, but even a better human being. Salt to the earth type of girl, man. Like, when I first got there, she's like, hey, if you need anything, just let me know. I'm like, I don't even know who you are, but I know who she was, obviously, but I'm just like, you don't even know who I am, and you're already like, hey, if you need anything, let me know. I appreciated that. So the belt couldn't have went to a better person in Kayla Harrison there at the co-main event. But when we talk about the main event with Sean O'Malley and Merab Davis-Philly, listen, I've met Merab a couple of times when I was training in Vegas. And believe me when I say, and listen, I try to take pride in being a hard worker and everything. Nobody works harder than Merab. And you saw a guy in Sean O'Malley who you thought, okay, he turned around the game plan a little bit. He's going to come out aggressive, try to get Merab against the cage. You saw that in the first round. And you thought, okay, this is going to be the style that's finally going to solve the puzzle that is Merab. And unfortunately, the human body can only endure so much. And when you talk about pressure, when you talk about grappling, when you talk about going to deep water, nobody does it better than Merab. And I think it's super fascinating for the fact that he's one of the best wrestlers, obviously, in the UFC. But like, if you look at his takedown percentages, like that's not the best. Like when you watch Khabib, one of the other greatest grapplers of all time, like when Khabib got a shot on you, you're probably getting taken down. With Merab, he might shoot on you, you might get away, but guess what? 5 seconds later, he's shooting at you again, and then he's probably taking you down. And as a fighter, that's the most frustrating thing is when you stop this takedown, you use all your energy, all your physicality, and all of a sudden, 5 seconds later, here's another takedown that I got to stop. Man, that can just break you. So I don't know how you stop Merab. I don't know how you defeat him, honestly, just because the guy, like, he's smart with his distance. He knows when to use his wrestling, and now he's showing like submissions as well. Dude's dominant.
Yeah, so I mean, obviously it was a good fight, big moment, right? For him. And what's the next big thing on the? I mean, what we got coming up for UFC?
The next big thing. Good question. So, I was to say what, Brent? I'm sorry.
You said other than you.
Other than you.
Oh, other than me. Oh, and there at my camera. Man, that's a great question. I don't even know who's like the next big card. I'd have to look into that a little bit. Because like the heavyweight, John Jones is rumored now that he's gonna give up the belt, and then Tom Aspinall is gonna fight to be the true heavyweight champion. So heavyweight's kind of locked down right now. I think 205. Like, I think that I don't know. I have to look into it, but I'm not sure like what the next big fight is. I know there's UFC, I believe, is in Atlanta this up and coming week, and that's gonna be Kamaru Usman taking on Buckley, I believe.
Okay. Is it cool like when you're working at these gyms, right? Because we're the best of the best, whether it's in South Florida or Vegas in the last year, that you do see some of these folks that are fighting. I mean, I know you did that even in Jacksonville, right? Where you'd be cornering some people, but is there that's kind of a cool connection, right? I mean, we do that right now. I mean, we got kids we played with or against that we knew a little bit that are playing with a chance to go to Omaha and College World Series. Like, there's something kind of fun about that, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think the cool thing is that when you go to like to bigger gyms like the one I'm at right now, is even if like they don't speak English, or even if they don't really know you, like if someone walks by you, they're gonna put out their fist and say, "Hey, what's up, man? Like, let's get it today." Like, it's weird, man, because we're all on the same journey, right? And it can be a very hard journey, whether it's mentally or physically. And I think like, we just kind of feed off each other a little bit. We feed off each other's energies. And that's what makes a great gym. I felt like sometimes on the football fields, like, yeah, guys are willing to help, but sometimes guys are also in it for themselves for a variety of reasons. Sometimes for money, sometimes for fame, sometimes just to make a roster. I think when we talk about a proper UFC gym, I mean, we all know what it is, and regardless of how great you are, we've all been at least humbled one time, whether it's in a fight or even in practice. So there's definitely that respect factor there. So I just think like at an MMA gym like I'm at, it's just, everybody wants everyone to get better, because if you do that, well, then those are better training partners for you as well.
All right, let me go a couple quick hitters before I let you go, and you got to go work out. Rejoin us hopefully a little bit later.
Absolutely.
NBA Finals, OKC. Indiana now tied up. I guess we shouldn't be surprised, but it's a good thing that Indiana won, or we wouldn't have had a series probably.
No, for sure. And listen, credit to Oklahoma City Thunder, right? Because that's the intricacies of basketball, right? Like, you could just say, okay, well, they just got to shoot better, they just got to play better. Sure. But what did they do last night? They actually implemented more of a bigger lineup. So you had Havenstein, and then you had Chet Holmgren out there at the same time for a lot of that first half. And what happened? They dominated defensively. They did really well, and obviously on the boards as well. They did their thing. So I just appreciate a team who can go from game one and say, all right, we got out physicaled, we got outplayed, we got out hustled. What do we got to do to change it? All right, let's throw our two bigs in there and see what happens.
The NHL playoffs, man, that game was so good. Again, I was late that night. I had to get up for like a 5 a.m. flight, and I was still staying up watching that game. It's got me hooked. I'm so fascinated. Everybody's so gripped by a game like that and what the Stanley Cup Finals are, and it just feels like hockey should be so much bigger. We talk about it so many times, I won't belabor that point, but the bottom line is that was a really good hockey game Florida figures out a way to win, and the Marchand trade really pays off.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was a must-win game for Florida, just because if they would have lost that one, it could have been super heartbreaking. Simply because like they had a bunch of opportunities to win the game in regulation, and then that first overtime, and Skinner, the goalie for Edmonton, was playing unconscious through that time. So it seemed like nothing was going to get in the net for Florida. A couple unlucky bounces here, and then lo and behold, the guy that was the ultimate boomer bust play, one of the most despised players in the entire league. And I'll be honest, I still despise him. And Marchand was able to win the game. And I think it goes to show you, when you have that culture in place, it doesn't matter who you bring in on your team. Like, if the culture is there, that player is going to respond, is going to give you what you need. And credit to the Florida Panthers for taking that risk with Marchand, because it's paying dividends. And it could be a Stanley Cup just because of that move right there.
He actually might think about this. Well, you've got a lot to think about over the next couple hours, but this would be like, he is really a great villain, isn't he? I mean, like, there have been great villains like Draymond Green, but like nobody likes him unless he plays for you, the Bruins or the Panthers now. I mean, I bet the Panthers didn't like him until he got there.
No, without a doubt. And if you look at that locker room, and that Panthers locker room, I mean, those are a bunch of guys that are gritty and just, they know how, in my opinion, they know how to play the proper way of hockey. And I was skeptical if that was really going to work out, because you think of Marchand, like, yeah, he's gritty, but he's more of like that finesse European style, where it's just like, you're kind of the pretty boy, but you're also kind of a weirdo because you were licking people a couple years ago when you're in Boston, which made zero sense. So this guy is hated for a reason, man, but it's definitely worked out for Florida.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, we'll let you go practice, and then hopefully be back with us. By the way, we have got to do something about this picture setup here. Like, Austin's is fine, but I'm not looking at me from 2014 for the rest of this show. All right,
it's funny, man. just put like Matt Damon in there or something instead. Go ahead and put like Matt Damon like on the red carpet or something.
I got a lot of pictures of Brent, unfortunately. I'll send you a few different ones, maybe a different one every segment.
There we go.
All right, man. Go have a good work. And
I'll talk to you guys later.
Brent and Austen Show, Action Sports Shacks 24/7 Network. Hit a bunch of different topics there. Obviously, we'll talk a lot more football. And now we're back a little bit. I don't know what I was doing something crazy there for a little bit, but hopefully the audio is still okay. We'll talk more Jags. Obviously, we'll have a conversation probably at least with Tank Bigsby and maybe Parker Washington. Might save that one for tomorrow for the guys to have some fun with that. We'll have a lot of interviews coming up this week. I mean, we have so much content right now with the assistant coaches and everyone else. And I know some of that's out there, but we did our own thing. You kind of dance around that, and you got some of the same answers, some of the similar questioning, but we'll share ours over the next probably really couple of weeks on actionsportshacks.com, on Action Sports Shacks Primetime, and even here on the show as well. We've got this huge platform and so much content that we want to make sure we deliver it to you. And some of the assistant coach stuff I thought was pretty fun. So we'll get into that over the next week and into the rest of the summer. Brent Martineau, Jason Hamby. Austin will rejoin us a little bit later on. Let's take a time out. Brent and Austin Show, Action Sports Shacks 24/7 Network. Hey, don't forget to hit Best Bet Jacks. If you didn't this weekend, they still have the Poker Atlas Tour going on down at Best Bet St. Augustine, and you can see what else is happening at Orange Park and also Monument Road. The Belmont Stakes was run. Sovereignty wins over journalism once again, and almost a replay of the Kentucky Derby. So hopefully you win a few bucks on that. Visit bestbetjacks.com. We'll be back from New York to South Florida, back home in Jacksonville as well. We're all over the place here on a Monday. Welcome inside the Armor Guard Exterior and Gutter Helmet Showroom. There's a lot going on, like glass exteriors, replacement windows, and down there we have the retractable screens and awnings, plus hurricane protection. Let's talk more about those gutters, and to do that, we bring in Kevin. He's the owner, he's the expert. Why Gutter Helmet?
Well, Gutter Helmet is truly the only maintenance-free product. It lets the trash and debris go on the ground, the water wraps around and goes inside. Unlike filters, they sit on top of the gutters, and the trash and debris build up on top of filters, which requires maintenance. With Gutter Helmet, we're going to keep you off the ladder, the most dangerous thing in your garage. With Gutter Helmet, you'll never clean your gutters again. So get off the ladder and put on the helmet. Gutter Helmet.
Get a free estimate at gutterhelmetofnorthflorida.com. You can also call 904-762-7779 or visit the showroom on St. John's Bluff Road in Jacksonville.
Empower a future, inspire a dream. It's a bold but simple mission for the Jacksonville Police Athletic League known as Jax PAL. Help the next generation of kids in Jacksonville shape a brighter future. Their after-school programs, teenage leadership programs. There's community outreach.
It's been just an awesome opportunity to be out here with my colleagues and do something good for the community. It's really been an interesting opportunity to just see everybody work together in a way that we don't normally in the office.
And there's sports. There are also ways you can help the next generation with a donation of any kind. Just visit jaxpal.org to get more information. Empower a future, inspire a dream with Jax PAL.
It's the Kingfish Tournament for the entire family. The 2025 Daly's Old School Kingfish Shootout presented by Yellowfin. What makes the Old School better than the rest? Cash payout to the top 25 places. Lady and junior angler divisions. No bait buying and limited boundaries. It's June 14th and right now get early entry for $250 until May 31st. OldSchoolKingfish.com for all the details. Fishing fun for the entire family and a $125,000 Yellowfin bay boat on the line. OldSchoolKingfish.com.
The rhythm of my heart is beating like a drum, with we armada rolling off our tongues. Never will we roam, for we know our place is down. Where the ocean meets the skies, we be sailing. Where the ocean meets the skies, we be sailing.
Baker's Sports. It's a hometown business filled with hometown people trying to make you feel right at home.
Chris Conley, Jacksonville University.
Walker Wright, class of 2018, West Nassau High School.
Michael Young, Fletcher High School.
Baker's Sports started in a grassroots way and now outfits much of the Southeast.
Will Olive, Mandarin High School. Go Stangs.
High school sports, travel sports, youth sports of all kinds. They are a one-stop shop carrying Nike, Adidas, Under Armour brands, and more.
Vincent Caldes, Oakleaf High School.
Tony Mazzio, Sandwood High School, class of 2002. Samuel Coffrin, Paxton School for Advanced Studies.
Whether it's sports teams on the field or it's your team in the workplace, like our Action Sports Jacks team, and community events like the Dream 18 Golf Tournament, and many others.
Cole Tilley, Hilliard High School.
Reagan Webb, Eagles View Academy.
Look good, feel good, play good with Baker Sports. Custom sports apparel since 1997. Shop with the hometown team at bakersport.com.
Sun's out, suits out. That's right, it's summertime in Florida, which means it's time to say goodbye to bulking season and hello to shredding season. But if you're like me, you're having a hard time sculpting and shaping those final pounds. That is until I came and saw my friends over at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics. Right now, everyone is hopping on the Evolve X train, and the only destination is finding your perfect summer body. The technology uses electrical muscle stimulation and radio frequency energy to cause your muscles to contract, all while heating up those deep layers of your skin and tissue to produce collagen and reduce fat. It's like doing 1,000 sit-ups in 30 minutes. No pain, no needles, just results, right?
That's right.
So leave those winter layers back at the station and come look and feel your best with the team here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics. Visit them at one of their 2 locations, either over in Ponte Vedra or on the south side.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
Oh, Omaha bound for Oregon State. Stayed up late and watched that one. Boy, Florida State Seminoles, they missed a huge opportunity in game 1 when they were up 4-1 in the 9th inning. And then who knows if you win game 2 and how it unfolds. I'm not a big believer that it all goes the same way, but it could have gone the same way, right, in hindsight. And then they just don't get a good performance from Mendez. That gives up 7 runs. Karma come and get you a little bit now. I mean, he was the guy that was yapping off the mound. That's why you got to have a little sense of humility sometimes. I think it's too bad for Florida State. I think they have a really good baseball team. I think when you have arms like Arnold leading the way, you got a chance. I don't know if they ever had the bullpen, though. I really don't. And Prescott kid, it looks like he got hurt. Kid out of JU. And we have so many connections. The Crest kid from Jacksonville University, the Prescott kid, and then, of course, you get your Jacksonville guys like Brody Delamalure, who plays, Max Williams, who plays, Alex Lotis, who plays and is maybe the player of the year in college baseball, Hunter Carnes, and who else am I missing? Connor Holtz, who actually got in that game as well yesterday. So, it's pretty amazing how many Jacksonville guys are on that team, Jacksonville connections, and a major disappointment, really, I think, for them not to win that. Now, they didn't love the fact that they had to go out there to play Oregon State, and they were a 9 seed versus Oregon State being the 8, but hey, it is what it is. I mean, you got to take care of business. College baseball stuff's been really good. I was trying to do the math on it. You get Duke Murray State today. I didn't even ask Austen about that. Maybe we'll bring that up a little bit later. I think so many people are Murray State fans, and it's not like I dislike Duke. Like, Duke is fine. But it would be nice to see Murray State go as a true Cinderella right now in college baseball. And you have 2 SEC schools. LSU made it and Arkansas made it. It looks like Duke could be a second ACC along with Louisville. And then, I mean, you've got Oregon and UCLA. You got Coastal Carolina. And, again, potentially Murray State. I feel like I'm missing somebody in there. But, Arizona. And it's going to be pretty entertaining College World Series. I don't think it's the same old, but it's got some familiar, prideful schools in the sport of baseball that will be there in Omaha next week when the College World Series begins. Brent Martineau here in New York. Jason Hamby back there in the Action Sports Shacks 24/7 Network studios. Hopefully everything sounds okay most part. I know some of the video's lagging a little bit, so that's why I sent you just a handful of pictures. Use your favorite one, Jason Hamby, if you need to. Just not the one that you had. That was an old school. I wonder when that was. That must have been like 2013, 2014, which might not make me look too bad. I've got a question for everybody here. You go a little bit on vacation, and maybe you get an Airbnb or you're there, wherever, you get a cabin. I don't know. Like, we used to do this. I'd go with my buddy to New Hampshire, his family, and they would go for like a week, and it was in a cabin, these small little cabins up in New Hampshire on, I think it was for a while, it was like Lake Sunapee. And then I think it was like Lake Winnipesaukee up there in New Hampshire. It was really a great spot. And but you go to the grocery store, right, when you get there.
Of course.
At some point, because you got to get stuff. You don't want to eat out all the time. Chill out, eat in. This becomes your home. But you buy stuff that you wouldn't normally buy, like if you go to Publix back home on a weekly basis. So what's the go-to, Hamby, if you're going to go buy something? Because, I mean, you're I don't care if I gain 5 pounds, I'm on vacation, type of stuff too. So, where are you going?
Yeah, I mean, this was always back in the day when we would have granny camp and my parents would drop me off with the grandparents. We'd go to the Panhandle to the beach or up to the mountains. And literally before you go to the cabin, you've got to go to Walmart or you've got to go to, what is that place? Ingles. Or wherever it is, you cannot get to the cabin without groceries. So one of our staples was always cereal because we can never have cereal at home. I mean, we could have the Special K or whatever, which is pretty much rocks, or at least tasted like that when I was in elementary school because I was comparing everything to, Fruity Pebbles and Apple Jacks and Captain Crunch and all of those things. So that was our go-to. It was that and Pop-Tarts, I would think, or donuts maybe. Was it Intamins or whatever when they do those?
Very good.
That
very
eight pack of assorted donuts.
That's a Rhode Island business. Those are good donuts.
Yeah. So it was kind of like the very unhealthy dessert, or the desserts for breakfast was kind of our vibe.
Yeah, I agree. That's a good one. I know Kaylee bought there's a fire pit out here now. We have a fire pit. We could do this too, but she bought the s'more stuff.
Okay.
So she got that. And then obviously you're buying chips and salsa and all these different things. There you go. Throw that one up. The old Jacksonville Giants. Great nuts. Our rocks, Hamby. Hey, listen, I used to eat grape nuts too as a kid. I'm kind of I might have grown up the way. Now we had the fruit. I was a big Fruit Loop fan and Frosted Flakes and everything else. But you're kind of right. Like I don't eat cereal. I don't eat breakfast anymore. So those breakfast foods are actually something that you will go get.
Right.
Even when you're on vacation. I feel like there's a lot of chips involved in all of this, but there's always something that you're grabbing. Like here's the one I used to get all the time with my buddy, and now I get most of the time when I go on vacation. It's like pepperoni and cheese.
Okay. Yeah. I've done that.
Just like slice up some pepperoni, you get your cheese, maybe you throw some crackers in there, whatever you want to do. But it's like it feels like it's an I'm on vacation kind of snack for me.
Right. And you would just never really get that if you were just at home. First of all, because you're probably never at home at a time where it would feel right to eat that. Because that's like a lunch afternoon type thing. I don't know. Maybe you are, but I don't think that's even necessarily a snack you can go to at like an 11 p.m. But I like that play. I think I've done a Lunchable. Or here was the one that we always did. Now that I think about it, was the pizza rolls, because you're on vacation and you don't want to like make lunch, or you don't want to make Granny make lunch, and she would every time if you asked her to, of course. But if you go get a 90 count of pizza rolls and you can go through those things with your brother in 4 or 5 days, then hey, you're happy. It takes 2 minutes to heat up if you go the microwave route, which I know some people might crush me for because they're not the same as the oven or the air, whatever. But that was our thing.
Yeah, it's always fun. Glenn C says, I look a little puffy in this picture, by the way. Hey, here's the deal. This is probably, I don't know what year this is. This goes back to probably 2000 and, let's just say 16, 17, somewhere in there. And playing for the Giants. This one was at UNF Arena, so it was like the second time I think I did this. I think I did it 3 different times, and the first one was down the arena. I think it was the first one was down at the arena, and the second one was at UNF. Well, it happens in like January or maybe February. So it's like right out of football season, man. So yeah, puffy was probably the right word. All these years later, puffy's probably still the right word. The problem is it's now June and I still feel like that. But that's a fair word. I was exhausted. There's nothing like that will tell you you're out of shape, I think, like running.
Oh, there's no doubt. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. You make it 2 trips down the court in a fast break and you're gasping for air. You're like, holy cow, I've played a minute of actual real-time basketball. What the heck is wrong with me?
It is so true, man. It's just a different thing. It's like, I'm trying to think of some of the things that you've done where you've been tired, right? Like I don't go for runs. But hey, easy, Glenn. See, I don't want easy now. That might be a dangerous terminology. You might have to get that off the screen. Like we play pickleball sometimes now. You actually get more fatigued. I don't know about fatigue, but you really like work up a good sweat playing pickleball, kind of like the old racquetball days, more than you would think is the point. And the other one though is tennis. Like if you play tennis and you start going back and forth, you're like, oh my, I'm out of shape. Like if you really were playing, not just like hitting it. But basketball, man, there's nothing like it. There's nothing like that, like up and down the court 2-3 times to tell you that you are so out of shape. Like that is a real thing. And it doesn't seem to make a lot of sense, but it's true. I think you just go 100 miles an hour when you're playing basketball a lot more frequently. Roger Wood sausage and mustard is goated. All right, I'm gonna have to try that for the go-to. Better get the pizza rolls. I'm probably not getting pizza rolls, but yes, pizza rolls still at this age are good. That is true.
So have you been to the grocery store yet?
Yeah, we went yesterday. So
okay.
We went, and it wasn't like a crazy one, but like I've got, I'm on a little bit of a deli meat, lunch meat, whatever you call it, and like pickles kick as well. So that's like a good snack for me at a place like this, where you can just, because we're getting back a little later at night, or just kind of popping in and eating. So I think it's not bad. But I'm on like a pickles kick lately too. I've always liked pickles. But I'm buying pickles. Even at work, I've bought pickles the last like couple of weeks for a little snack. Weird.
Yeah, I can't join you on that one. That's
you're not a pickle. Yeah, you either like pickles or you don't. I mean, it's a weird thing. There's like no in between in pickles.
I have had friends who are like, that's what they'll get at a baseball game if they have them. I don't think there's any major league parks that sell them individually. I could be wrong, but there's been like high schools where you could just get a pickle for $1 or $2 and.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's a new thing. That is not a thing when I was growing up, but that has become a thing at concession stands.
Yeah.
Where a lot of people like really like this. By the way, there's one other thing about this Jacksonville Giants picture. This was the game I got a technical foul for wearing a GoPro. Yeah. So like I came out of the gates with the GoPro on when I first went in, just for like the TV part of this, and they gave me a tech. And then the other thing about this game, which was really like I always remember, is people have heard this story before probably, but I'll tell it again for those who haven't, like you, Hamby. But when you play, like you're the 13th guy, and so this is what they have in the ABA, and it's kind of like just a fun thing, which certainly is. But the guys don't like that you're there for the most part. Like they don't like that you're there because you're actually taking their minutes. They know it's like you're kind of
gimmick.
Diminishing like what they're doing, and some will really embrace it and get it, and then others just really don't like it. And so this guy on the other team in this one, this is probably why I'm so tired. He's like, "You are not scoring." Like he was in my shorts, man. Like he would not let me go, and so. I think in this game in particular, I ended up scoring 7 points. Huh. I had a layup, a little bit of a rebound, put back floater, and a 3.
Really?
And I always remember it wasn't all against that guy, but I was like, all right, dude, if you're not going to let me score and you're going to be a pain in the ass, then here we go. Like, not that I can probably beat you one-on-one, but this was a joke for a minute. Now it's not. So then I was, and another time I played, there was another guy the same way, man. He covered me so hard. Like, I was like, you guys haven't played defense at all. What the hell? Like, why are you playing defense on me? Like, you score 150 points in these games. So, oh yeah, I remember like I went from technical foul in that game to like really turning on the competitive juices, even though I had none going into the game.
The best thing, one of the best feelings, and you almost feel like you've hit a new level of friendship with a guy. It doesn't matter if you've never met him before, is if you're in your second pickup game after you're gassed, and at the start of the game, you kind of point out who you're guarding, that guy points you out, and then first trip down the floor, you kind of whisper, hey, or, you know, and you come to that subtle agreement that, you know, we're not going to just like give each other 5 feet of space, but we're not going to be in each other's grills the entire time. And if they stick to that, there ain't nothing better in all of sports than knowing, hey, I might be able to catch and shoot at a minimum because this guy's not going to be up in my face the entire time, which also means I don't have to try that hard on defense either.
Yeah, that's true. I think, by the way, I had 7 points in this one, and I think I had 2 points in another game, and then I got shut out the one game. Man, I got a 3 off too, and it back rimmed. It looked pretty good, but that was another one I was trying. So I played 3 games. I had 9 points. Okay. I think I have more career points than any other media member that's ever played in the at least for the Jacksonville Giants. Like I have to.
Is there a close? Who would be a? Did anybody ever play in the same game as you? Or is there always just one at a time? No, it's just one at a time. So like Austen played in this. Okay.
And Austen
he didn't get 7?
No, I don't know what I don't think he didn't. Well, again, he doesn't really count in this because I was saying media.
Oh, true.
So, but like Rasheed Mathis played.
Oh, I got you.
They've got guys like Austen and Rasheed are really good athletes, right?
Right.
Like you wouldn't maybe be even able to tell that they were like playing on this 13th man. You could tell I was playing on the 13th man.
Of course.
So the fun, the one thing I always say about this every time we have this conversation is all I wanted to do is throw an alley-oop. Like I didn't care about scoring. I wanted to throw an alley-oop because when I played basketball, like in middle school and, when I was a kid, obviously you can't throw that. Nobody's good enough, big enough to dunk it.
Right.
And so I was like, oh man, these guys can throw it down. Like, hey, great athletes played for the Jacksonville Giants. They put on a show sometimes. So I was like, oh man, I want to throw an alley-oop so bad. And never got to do it. So That was it. Jacksonville Giants, I don't think they'll ever come back. So they're done. They just great success here in Jacksonville. Speaking of, Jacksonville Sharks got a big win over the weekend. Jacksonville Armada. We had that on the network as well on Saturday afternoon. The women continue to play very well. We'll have another one of those coming up on Saturday at 7 o'clock for the men's side of things this week. And I think they'll be moved to Patton Park. It looks like that's where those are going to be now. And also we have the Kingfish, old school Kingfish shootout. Last week to register. We'll have it on Thursday. Let's go fishing. But also we'll show you the weigh-in and some of the fishing starting at 2 o'clock on the Action Sports Shacks 24/7 network on Saturday. So a busy day. We're going to hold that for the second consecutive year. Look forward to it. oldschoolkingfish.com to register for that one. If you're still thinking about it, go get in this weekend. Hopefully the weather looks good back home for all that. Hey, quick while we run down a couple other sports. Did you see any of the tennis? Coco Gauff, Alcaraz get the wins at the French Open. There's some brilliant tennis played. The Alcaraz center match, and I'm not sure if you're a tennis fan or not. I saw just the kind of the end of it. I was watching some of the baseball. Steph loves watching the tennis. Ty loves watching the tennis, so they were watching. And then I kind of peeked in at the end. And then the Coco Gauff win's a huge win. I think for women's tennis, it's great that she wins. She's right now carrying the mantle for women's tennis. But that Alcaraz stuff, I mean, you talk about really good stuff over the weekend, right? The hockey going to overtime and all that was fantastic. I wouldn't say the basketball was fantastic. Some of the baseball has been really good and dramatic. That tennis yesterday was just a lights out, premium level, epic kind of tennis.
I missed every shot. I saw none of it.
Yeah, it's funny. Like most people, I don't know where people are on the tennis. I think I see a lot of people tweet about it and talk about it. And so like from like different walks of the earth that have kind of peeked in on the finals. That's when they'll jump on it and join it. Because I do think we like to not miss out on like championship stuff. Right. I mean, think about some of the things that you don't watch, but you'll usually flip on. And I think tennis is one of those sports that you'll peek in at the end. You'll see, okay, what's going on? And especially once you start, if you're on social media on a Sunday morning and you start seeing people talk about it, then you're going to jump on it as well. I mean, listen, some of the golf majors are like this too for a casual fan. If you're a golf fan, you're going to talk about and watch it a lot. Like I will try to tune into the U.S. Open quite a bit. But a lot of people will just tune in on Sunday afternoon if they hear, hey, this is going to be an epic finish.
Right.
And I mean, just it's cool in sports when you see high level stuff. When you see it like just, wow, like that is some good shot making. Where I always enjoy when I watch big time sports when you feel like somebody won, because so many other people, so many other sporting events are lost. I mean, I would say 90% of sporting events feel like they're lost. A guy fails in a situation, a guy makes an error, a guy misses an assignment, a guy misses a shot. Like that's how we consume it and kind of feel about it. How many times do you really feel like a team or in a battle, in a one-on-one tennis or whatever, actually like won the event? Even in golf, a guy misses a 5-foot putt on the 18th hole, usually to give the guy the other win. Even though he won it, it felt like, oh, that guy kind of lost it. Sure. Well, this was a tennis match to me where I was just like, damn, man, that was just good stuff. Alcaraz just went and took it in the tie break, but even in the final 3 sets, he was down 2-0.
That's pretty cool. I mean, it feels like all the Jags games were like that last year. I mean, it feels like the Jags lost the game instead of the other team going and winning it. The Philly game comes to mind. The Vikings games comes to mind right away. And I think you're right. It might be close to like 90%. I mean,
well, your Georgia Bulldogs do it, right? If your Georgia Bulldogs lose, you feel like they lost the game. Carson Beck threw a pick or this or that happened, right? You don't feel like the other team won it. You feel like you were the better team. And a lot of times that happens.
Yeah, and I mean, over the weekend, I was really locked into the college baseball. It felt like UNC lost the game. Their captain, second baseman, makes a critical error on what should be a tailor-made double play, and then they throw 2 batters later. They throw a ball away on a bunt, and it goes from 3-1 to 4-3, and Arizona takes the lead, and that's it. Like UNC lost that game. Like Arizona did not win it.
You just brought up another interesting point there. I think the college baseball and softball, to me, and this, now listen, I'm more locked in than everybody else, and maybe others feel this way. Where do you guys feel this happens in sports, where you can feel the intensity, right? See, at the professional, and you feel the pressure that they are under. Like you can actually feel it from your TV, computer, phone, whatever, the pressure that those folks are under. And I don't feel that as much in professional sports often, because those guys have such a way to slow the game down. I don't know if everybody saw the Jazz Chisholm comments from New York about playing 70%. Like if you do everything well at 70% is something he said. And what he was really trying to get at is if you try too hard, you're going to make mistakes. He's like, you got to slow things down to play at like your peak level, so you're not overdoing it, is what he was trying to say. Whether he said it well or not is debatable. But I get what he's trying to say at the very least. But they have, like, do you feel it in hockey now? You feel like the moment feels so important in that overtime, right? In that third period, you're like, but I don't know if I feel the goalie or the players look like they are under pressure. I feel like we think that and see that a lot in more probably the college sport. If we take March Madness, when there's a tight moment and now guys start missing free throws, I feel like this is the way in baseball and softball when I'm watching this stuff, Hamby. Like you can tell these guys are 19, 20, 21 years old and haven't figured exactly how to take the breaths the right way, slow everything down. This is such a big moment in their lives. This is their sports moment and everybody's watching it. Think about the moment that made you the most nervous at any level of sports, middle school, high school, you name it. And magnify that with all cameras and everybody watching. That is an unusual position for a lot of these folks in baseball and softball specifically. I think it's getting even more common in football. They're used to it now. In basketball, they're used to it at the collegiate level. But baseball and softball, that's a new deal. And I just felt the last few weeks, you can see how important it is to these guys, how stressful it is to these guys. And when that happens, you sometimes do some things that are outside your normal character or your normal play because the moment gets big.
Yeah, and I think I specifically in college baseball for me, I know I speak just because that's what I've watched the most of, especially recently. But a lot of these pitchers, I mean, part of it is the fact that everybody in the opposing lineup at this point is hitting over 300, right, with the bats, and how the ball seems to be flying out of every one of these ballparks. It's just like every pitch, they're on pins and needles whether the guy's gonna go yard on them and they're gonna lose the game. Like it felt that way with UNC. It felt that way in the second FSU OSU game. It felt that way when freaking 3-2 count. We're gonna go to the pin, which I've never seen before at any level in all of baseball. And we're gonna bring Charles in. I forget his first name. And second batter that he faces, the guy takes him 450 for a grand slam. And he gives up another base hit and his day's done. Like that. And what makes it more I think we feel the pressure more because I think Charles is a senior. I could be totally wrong. I know that the first dude was a sophomore, Mendez. But like that might be Charles's last career outing ever in his life. And what's he going to remember? I gave up a grand slam in a super regional. We lost, which obviously there was 7 more innings after that, and they had plenty of opportunity. But try telling him that right now. Joe Charles, thank you, Glenn C. Yeah, try telling him that. That might be his last time on a mound other than a beer league softball game or in his kid's 5-year-old coach pitch league. And what's he going to remember? Like that's his career. That is the last moment of his career. I think that's why it feels so much bigger. The UNC kid, he's a senior. He's going to remember that the second to last inning that he played, he made the error that started it all, and UNC's going home.
Yeah, I hate that for those guys too. I just that's a lot, and you're right. You remember that. But by the way, that could have happened like 3 games ago, and you'll still remember it for the rest of your life. We all have. We don't know if it came in the last play or whatever play, but I get there's some significance to that. But that's the feeling, right? And you just hope you never know. Like I mean, shoot, I watch my kids now and do that, right? You're just like in the moment. How's that moment going to be? That's not a comfortable moment. The more comfortable you get in that moment, the more times you do it, maybe the more success you have, then you really become comfortable in that moment. But those are very difficult real life moments. And one more thought on that. Well, I got 2 more things. One more thought though on this part of it. From a professional baseball standpoint, This is why I argue that in the postseason, they should at least extend the pitch clock, because I really feel like in Major League Baseball in October, it heightens the whole situation, the drama,
absolutely.
the stress. If you go back 5 years and you watch a postseason game, and let's just call it the Red Sox and Yankees, and they know how big it is in the postseason, right? And everybody knows how big that is. You can see it on the pitcher's face when they're facing Aaron Judge. And it builds and it builds and it builds. I think they should extend that clock to some degree in the postseason for the fans at home, for the fans in the stadium, for the drama in the sport, to heighten it. It almost moves too quick. I don't need a minute, but I just feel like it needs a little more of a beat or two to build that, because that's the one time really in pro sports that I feel like you do see it on people's faces. You can feel the intensity of that moment. You could see it even on Jeter, who had been so successful, or take it to a Big Papi who had been so successful, or Pedro. And again, I keep using Yankees Red Sox because I've got that in my mind. But I mean, there's nothing bigger in sports really at the moment than a Yankees Red Sox playoff game. In the ninth inning, a tie game, a one-run game, runners on, whatever. And you can really feel the moment, what I'm talking about, that these guys are under an enormous amount of pressure. I think most times they just kind of go out there and do their thing, and it feels very slow to them. It feels that way in football a lot of times, feels that way in basketball a lot of times to me, feels that way even in hockey where the intensity is crazy. But in baseball, you could really see it on the pitcher's face, I thought, and sometimes even the fielders. Like as they take those tight shots around, like Fox would do in a World Series or an ALCS or something, and you'd be like, you almost like, oh boy, please don't hit it to the third baseman. He looks like he doesn't want the ball.
No, and I remember Rizzo. I mean, he was mic'd up when the Cubs finally went to the World Series, and he's like freaking out in the dugout, like legitimately. Seems like he is skydiving, like he's that nervous or something before his AB, and he's not even in the box. He's with his helmet off in the dugout. The other reason I would want a couple more seconds, because it also helps the announcers as well. Because at this point, we're going so fast that, as soon as the pitch is called, they're calling the pitch. The color guys got 8 seconds to say something, and we're back to it. And I think this is really where the one thing about that is that you might think that with more time, it's extra important for the pitcher to be mentally strong, right? Because he's got to take that walk around the mound he gets to do that. So what's he telling himself in those extra couple seconds? Where that's probably true for some. I'd say in this, when you have, by the time you catch the ball back from the pitcher before you're going again, that's about 12, 13 seconds where some guys can just row through it and not take a deep breath, and the moment's there, and they have no choice but to move on. And that really, I feel like, could expose whether you're able to move on quickly, so know why you're throwing the next pitch with intention, and not forget the game plan. Or if you're up there if things aren't going your way and you're freaking out, like, it's only going to get worse from you if you got to go faster.
All right, I got one more thing for you before I forget. And I actually asked this question a few minutes ago on social media. Somebody brought this up to me on Friday, because I always am interested, especially watching like this big time college baseball and softball. It's like, okay, when you played Hamby, or like where, you try to be realistic. Okay, can you play? What if you were hitting 8-hole here? Or what if you were playing outfield, or would you make that catch? Like that crosses my mind because I played baseball growing up. Like that doesn't usually cross my mind for football or basketball or hockey or some of these other sports. Like it does cross my mind a little bit in golf. Like, holy cow, like these guys are so good. I know if I was under this in this moment, I would not be able to hit this shot. Like I can't hit it with nobody watching, forget about millions watching. But what is the one sport? Is baseball the one sport you figure you can play it for, like this person said the other day, 15 minutes, right? It's like the 15-minute rule. I could go out there and play baseball for 15 minutes at the major league level and feel like, okay, I'm not about to like crap myself and embarrass myself. You couldn't do that in the NBA. I've said for years I wouldn't take $1 million to play a series in the NFL. I can't skate, so I can't do it in hockey. There's no way I could hit anything back with these guys in tennis, even though I can play a little bit of tennis. There's no way I could hit a putt with that millions of people watching and make it in golf even though it seems easy and you could probably you could do it. Like I'd be shaking so damn much I wouldn't be able to do it. I'd shank a shot on the approach, whatever it might be. I'd hit all those people that are watching. But baseball does seem like the one where it's like, okay, I think I can go catch a fly ball. Right. Like I can go track that. Now I'm not going to make like this heroic Sports Center top 10 play.
You'll make the routine.
I say that like I could stand there and hit, like I could. I don't know if I mean, I'm not telling you I could get a hit, but I don't think I think I could stand there and take and watch it come in, you know, and at least make an attempt. I would just have to like close my eyes and get lucky to hit it. I do kind of I've always said, and I'm not sure it's true. I was like, I feel like I could lay down a bunt even in the big leagues. Like I feel like I could, but I might be dead wrong on that.
I'd be more nervous to bunt in the big leagues than I would to take 3 hacks.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't say I wasn't be nervous because you're right. That thing, they buzzed the tower a little bit. But is baseball the one, though? Is baseball the one people be like, yeah, I could go play first base for a minute. I could go play outfield for a minute. Probably not. I mean, you could. If you're a shortstop, you could go field a ground ball. I mean, maybe you would boot it, but is that the one?
No, that's definitely the one. I mean, if you never played, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah. I'm saying if you play.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to catch the routine flyouts as long as it's not the major league pop-up. You're going to catch the 3-hopper ground ball that's off the end of the bat, and if you're playing second base, you're going to be able to make that throw. Still, I mean, 9 times out of 10 if you're going to your left or anything like that. Pitcher, you're still going to be able to field bunts. Obviously, the speed of the game is faster, but I mean, if you were a PFP merchant like myself, I can go still field bunts and get over and not get trucked at first base. I can still do that. And I certainly can strike out, which is pretty much par for the course for a lot of these guys, especially the Atlanta Braves. The other sport that I could hang 15 minutes with is ping pong. Now, 15, if we're going to 11, I'm in and out in less than 15 minutes, obviously. That's going to be a 3-minute contest, but I'm going to score a point. I'm going to lose.
You think you could win a point against one of those dudes?
If I get to wait, I don't know how professional ping pong works. Isn't it if you're playing to 11 per se, is it switch every 2? I'm pretty sure it's switch every 2 regardless of who wins the point. Okay, then
serve, right?
I think I can. Well, I mean, look, if we're playing the best of the best, I'm not scoring. But if we're playing like, if I get the 30th. Well, I'm probably going to stick my foot in my mouth here. I think I probably could get one, not every game. I don't think I can commit to that because I have seen how insane these guys are and girls. Man, it's crazy. I see that for whatever reason, Brent, one of the most popular out of all the bizarre videos to pop up, one of the most popular on my Twitter feed is these like 7-year-old Asian girls who are like the craziest, like it's insane. It's like they've been playing for 30 years. They're incredible. And it's almost like they can barely see over the table, yet they're whacking this thing 15 times with insane torque and spin. I'm like, yeah, okay. I'm scoring 1 point off them, and the professionals, it seems like I'm probably getting the same amount, 1 point off them as well, if not 0.
I don't care how good you think you are. I think you're whiffing like 75% of the time at way they hit it.
I don't think I'm whiffing.
Moving. I think you're
my first game.
I think you're overplaying it.
In my first game, and I haven't played I probably played ping pong once a year for the last 2 or 3 years. But in my prime, and I've played a couple of games, I'm scoring a point.
Yeah, I mean, again, it's hard to argue against the points somewhere in there. I would tend to agree with you, but I just think like, I don't know, man. I've seen some of those videos. That stuff is insane. Like, I feel like I'm a pretty like at times in my life, I haven't played in a while either, and my hand-eye is probably not as good as it was or whatever. But at times, like we played a ton of ping pong, and like I think I was I was a decent ping pong player. And you watch those guys play ping pong, and it's like, oh my gosh, Like I would imagine, like if you're a really good pool player, you think you could probably hang with some of those pros. By the way, there's a 9-ball women's championship coming to Jacksonville.
Predator.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. We got a press release on that, and I was like, oh, that's kind of a cool deal. Now that's a unique event coming to Jacksonville.
I was also actually talking to one of my players' dads, who I didn't know, but he's made this. He works with them now. And it's insane that they're right here in Jacksonville. Their pool cues are like the pool cues for everybody. Like all the professionals use them. From what I was told in briefly yesterday is like they've got like everybody else used to use wood, and they created their whole a new design. I think he said maybe 10 years ago, and everybody uses it now. Like
sounds like a story, Hamby. Let's go. Let's get them on.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All
Predator.
Right, let's do this. Take a break. And the Brent and Austen Show, Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network. After 2 pitchers at FSU, I could play some pool now. Yeah, I bet you could. A lot of people think they can. I'm not a good pool player. Like I can play a little bit, but I'm not a good pool player. Like I'm not. Kind of wish I was, because it's kind of a cool game to be good at. But like I didn't grow up playing it all the time. Grew up playing it just a little bit, and definitely not like very good. Like even breaking the damn thing at the start is, I'd rather have somebody else do it. You know, I can, but I'd rather have somebody else do it. I feel, you know what I feel? I feel a little bit intimidated when I play pool, because I'm like, I should be better at this, and I'm not. Like I feel like if you're an athlete of any kind and you can play ping pong, you can play darts, and you can play those kind of games, cornhole and stuff, you should be good at pool too. But I know like some dude that probably didn't play a lick of sports or whatever could probably beat me in pool. And I don't like that feeling. So that's when I want to, like, I'll talk crap probably about ping pong and then get beat, but I wouldn't talk crap about pool. I just would be like, yeah, you probably got me. I'm not going to do it. All right, let's get back to some football talk. Hey, how about Tank Bigsby? We'll talk a little bit about him on the other side of it. Brent and Austen Show, Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network. I'm tired of looking at this picture, so we're going to have to put a different picture of the Jacksonville Giants days. But Bigsby is up next, the Jags running back. I think one of the most least talked about Jaguars players maybe of the last few months. Am I correct on that? I don't know. But let's talk about him some more. Number 4 when we come back here on a Monday. When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models, or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway, or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness, and most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC, we are professional grade.
The schedules are out for another summer of soccer here in Jacksonville with the Armada men's and women's under-23 squads, starting with the ladies and the home opener on May 24th. 2 weeks later, they're back in Northeast Florida for a June 7th matchup. The season wraps up with a pair of Friday night home matches June 20th and the 27th. As for the boys in blue, they debut against a couple league newcomers on May 9th and 17th respectively, with more home dates on May 31st, June 14th, and June 21st. All those matches are at Edward Waters University, and you can watch them live on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Those teams are a big focus on Fleet and Footy, covering the big soccer stories each week on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
I'll put one in the back of the net for you.
Join us for player profiles, fun interviews, and the very latest on the Fleet and all things footy. That's every Thursday at 2 p.m.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants. We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter. Right now, you can get a free Kinetico reverse osmosis system with a purchase of a Kinetico Premier softener. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Kinetico water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Kinetico dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
There's a saying in sports, you can't win them all, but you can win a lot with good folks on your team. Like that one painter, First Coast. It's tough to beat the sun in Florida, so your home fades. It's tough to beat that HOA when they come calling. Beat the sun, beat the HOA with that one painter, First Coast. And it's a good time to do it. Less rain to work around, and painting in mild temperatures is perfect. After all, the paint bonds to the surface so much better. Give that one painter First Coast a call at 904-417-3557 or look them up at first-coast.thatonepainter.com. Fast estimate, guidance on color and HOA requirements, and the highest quality job you'll find anywhere. Be a big winner in your neighborhood with that one painter First Coast on your team.
It's fast-paced.
Hands off on first down, and there goes Edward Vander.
High fly.
Wide open receiver. It's caught.
Action-packed. Weekend fun. Fun for the entire family. It's the Jacksonville Sharks. I feel like anybody could play in this league. It's gotta be like backyard football, right?
Whoa! This ain't the Arena League, Brent. This is the indoor league, and they play defense here.
It's a lot safer to just watch the professionals play. And watching is a lot of fun. A party in the stands at the arena for kids and adults. And it's indoors. Get out of the heat for the summer and watch the Sharks shine inside. Jacksonville Sharks football, season number 15. It's the Drive for 5, and it's still alive. Get your tickets at jacksharks.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Hey, Nick Chubb signed by the Houston Texans. This is one of the things that we'll get to maybe a little bit closer to the noon hour, how the Texans are built. And I'll tell you what, Hamby, just a quick thought on this. It feels like the Houston Texans are signing name players that make you think, right? Like I even said this last year, and I was kind of wrong. Well, I think I was definitely wrong on this. Joe Mixon and Danielle Hunter. Those are two guys that they signed, and I'm like, all right, listen, those are good signings. Those are good players. But will they be as good as they've been? Because they're getting longer in the tooth from a running back position for Mixon, and then obviously you got the same deal for Danielle Hunter, who's even older. And they delivered, man. They had good years. So are they going to continue to do that? Who knows? But then you sign guys like Nick Chubb. They got what? Chauncey Gardner-Johnson as well, who's been a good player in the league. Like guys like that, I just – it gives you pause, doesn't it? It's like,
well, they sound Diggs too, Brent.
Well, they did last year. Yeah, signed Diggs last year.
They did Diggs, Mixon, and Danielle Hunter.
Well, and obviously for injury reasons, that didn't work. But it does make you feel like for them, and I get it, they look like they're ready to win now, right? Like they've been AFC South champs 2 years in a row. What's going to put them over the top? What's going to get them to an AFC championship game? What's going to get them past? So that's what they're trying to find with some of these named players. I understand the position they're in. To be honest with you, they would be a candidate if they already didn't have a good secondary to go get a guy like Jalen Ramsey at this stage, right? Because that'd be like an exclamation point on their roster. They're obviously not going to do that, I don't think, because they've got plenty of good corners. That's the strength of their football team. But anyway, it just feels like they are taking gambles and taking shots at some of these guys that have really been good players in the league. And I think fans that get you excited if you're a Houston fan, and for other people in the AFC South, like here in Jacksonville, it's like, oh, I don't like when they're signing those guys. I would suggest, though, I mean, should you be concerned about Nick Chubb?
I mean, you know what I'm going to say. I mean, he's a dog, so I'm always going to believe until that guy proves to me that he doesn't have anything left. I'm not betting against Nick Chubb. The football world has done so on many occasions after injuries, and he's done nothing but come back and always seems like he's a top 5, when healthy, top 5 rusher in the National Football League. So again, until he proves otherwise that he's done, this scares me slightly because he's not going to be asked to take 25 totes a game. He's not even going to be asked probably to take 15. He's going to be a spell on first and second down, and Joe Mixon's obviously going to have probably full third down duties as well as obviously the majority of the snaps. But it was nice when Mixon left the game last year because, you know, you thought you were catching a break. And even so, I mean, gosh, I can't believe his name is flipping. Damian Pierce. He's a good football player. But Nick Chubb is an upgrade over Dyami Pierce. And it doesn't matter that Dyami Pierce is probably, I think he's entering maybe his 3rd or 4th year in the league. He's definitely on his first contract out of Florida. But again, I'm never betting against Nick Chubb. The guy is I think if he has another good year, Brent, he's a Hall of Famer in my book.
Whoa. Wait a minute.
If he were to come back this year and say Mixon gets hurt, and Chubb finds a way to eclipse the 1,000-yard mark, I think he's in the Hall of Fame.
I'd have to look. I'd have to check that out and see. But, I mean, Z. Fortner brings up a great point, right? 10 games in 2 seasons, and he's 29 years old. Like, I don't want to say he doesn't concern me at all because I did that last year with Joe Mixon. That didn't really work out well for me. Mixon had a good year, but I could also see at their ages and where they're at, like, can you count on them to deliver the way they've delivered? So I think that's debatable. And by the way, bigger story that really we haven't talked about. Maybe we'll do a little more Houston Texans, like I said, in the noon hour, is the fact that CJ Stroud's sore, not throwing. Like, that's a bit alarming, you know. Yeah. And they say no worries, of course. Everybody says no worries, and then you know, you get a guy like Anthony Richardson who's now out till August. So it's the Houston Texans are an interesting team. They're built interesting to me, and that's why I want to dive into it a little bit more in just a bit. But let's come back to the Jags running back room. We've talked so much about Travis Etienne this year. We've talked about Bashal Tutin. They had 2 running backs in the draft. We really have not talked a lot about Tank Bigsby. Like, I think we're unclear about Tank Bigsby's role. I think there's a lot to like about Tank Bigsby. But you and I don't think, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, can't sit here and say, yeah, Tank Bigsby's going to be the top back for the Jags this year. Like, we don't know what his role is. We question Travis Etienne's role because of Tutin. Well, should we be questioning a little bit of Bigsby's role because of Tutin as well? I think it's one of the great mysteries of this upcoming season is how Liam Cohen and the staff are going to use their running backs. And I'm not even quite sure they know yet how they're going to use their running backs, but they're going to have to figure it out because last year I thought it was a lost season for Etienne and Bigsby because they couldn't figure that out. They couldn't find out who was their guy. You have confidence in Tank Bigsby that he's going to have a nice year this year for the Jags?
I do, and I think it was a special thing happens to a running back when they're able to get consistent carries and they're not worried about, hey, if I bust one good run, does that mean I'm already out of the game? Or if I miss a hole on the opposite end and take a 5-yard gain, what should be a 5-yard gain, and make it a 1-yard gain for whatever reason, am I going to be out of the game? That's not going to change because they're going to have 3 guys. However, the way that they're handled, they're going to have a more defined role. So they're going to know when they're supposed to be in and when they're supposed to be out, right? Where, as you said, last year, it felt like it was a roll of the dice. It didn't feel like there was any game plan. Obviously, Tank had the majority of the snaps and the carries in the middle part of the year, especially. But I think with this regime, everybody's going to have a defined role, and they're going to be able to focus more on that role, not thinking that, you know, they got to be a 3-down back. There's not going to be a 3-down back, I think. I think Tank Bigsby's role is going to be second down. I mean, you know, when it's 2nd and 6, I think Tank's going to be in the ball game more than any other of the other two running backs because, first down, they'll probably want to keep it more open, be able to throw the football a little bit more. So you're probably not going to have taken as much. He's still going to get his first down touches, but you're probably going to earlier in the season. That's going to be more Travis Etienne, right? They're going to want to be able to flip him the ball for 5 yards and stay ahead of the sticks. But on second down, I think that's going to be Tank time, and then he's going to get his carry and he's going to go out. And then in third down, they're going to bring Etienne back in and possibly Tootin. I think obviously, as I've said before, as the season goes on, I think Tootin will take on more and more of a role, especially in the passing down situations. You don't draft a guy with 4.33 speed who can catch the football and not have him in on third down, especially when you can draw things up like Liam Cohen can. So I think Tank should know, like, if I'm Cohen, I'm saying, like, dude, you're going to own first and second down, especially second down, and your job is to freaking fall forward and get us into third and shorts when we need to. And, just keep us ahead of the sticks. All of these things, and I think he can excel in that. Obviously, there was a couple of week stretch after, I think, this first 3 games of starting last year where he led the league in yards per carry, and it wasn't close at all. And obviously that regressed big time. And I think he gets almost a little bit too much criticism where we should understand, hey, that's just regression to the mean. There was no possible way that he could have kept that up. He was so far ahead of everybody else. I think at one point he was averaging 8 yards a carry, and the second most was probably 5.5 or 6 for a couple of weeks. Like, just because that regresses down and he didn't necessarily finish in the top 10 or whatever, and that's off the top of my head, doesn't mean that, that 3-game sample was a total fraud, that he was a total fraud, that it was totally an outlier. He's still, if you look at carries, he's still insanely young. Even going back to Auburn, he's not one of those guys that got that his legs were torched in college. He's still got a lot of football in there. Obviously, he's going to year 3, and he's going to have a defined role. I think stock should be up for Tank.
Yeah, and by the way, you're not alone. I mean, I think from Hamby's Burner to Glenn C to others, I think the fan base really likes Tank Bigsby and wants to see more from Tank Bigsby. I do. I just put a poll question out there. So as we listen, we'll see how this poll question unveils itself in a short time. But let's listen to Marcel Robinson and some others, I think, inside this interview, asking questions with Tank Bigsby from late last week. And we'll get a little more Tank's thoughts going into the 2025 season and another new offense.
Tank, you've always been a kind of a keep the main thing kind of guy, but, what's the approach coming into this year? Obviously, last year you were able to do some good things and kind of change some things mid-season that helped you propel, but what's kind of the mindset going into this season?
Just get better every year. Keep the main thing, like you said, and focus on getting better, keeping God first, and just doing whatever this team need me to do to elevate, to be my best version of myself. Whatever they ask, I try to be my best version every time.
You talked about obviously kind of this being a running back friendly playbook. Does that help for a room like you guys have with a lot of talent? You got a lot of guys that can do some different things.
Yeah, it helps. Just seeing how we're gonna be used and how the system gonna be with us, and it helps. It's exciting to know we're gonna run the ball. So I can't wait to get an opportunity to scheme and see how everything be, continue to grow in it, and just exciting. I don't like to get too high. I don't like to get too low, but I'm right there in the middle where I'm like, I'm ready, but I ain't trying to be too ready. You know what I'm saying?
How do you guys navigate in that room? Obviously, you guys are all close, you and Trav, and of course, your Bashal coming in. Just one football. Yeah. And obviously, you guys are all competitors. How does that, you guys manage that in the room?
We just compete. You know what I'm saying? Just go out there and compete, speak life into each other, and we'll get an op. Do what we got to do. But at the end of the day, we out there competing. But I'm thankful for those guys. Those guys are good players, and we just make each other better every day.
What do you think about the new guy, Bashal Tootin? How's he doing out there?
He's doing good. Fast guy. Rookie, doing real good to be a rookie. And but he's real smart. He play fast, and I think he's a good player.
How explosive and good can this offense be? Obviously, the talk coming in is just kind of about the talent. Obviously, you guys in the running back room. Obviously, Travis Hunter, wide receiver room. Trevor taking another step. How good can this offense be, especially being led by a guy who's essentially an offensive guru, so to speak?
To be honest with you, his offense can be as fast as we want it to be. It's up to us. And that's how we preparate. That's how we be disciplined to our daily day things and come out here and be great. It's up to us how fast we want this offense to be. The sky's the limit.
Last one for me. This one is, I feel like the common theme that I've heard from everybody is like the energy that this coaching staff brings, not just kind of on the field, but in the rooms too.
Yeah.
You know, how does that help you guys out here?
I feel like it helps a lot. Energy. This team, we got a lot of energy. Just got to know how to use it in the right moments and the right places. So we've been doing that lately, and just thankful for the new coaches and thankful for the guys around us. It's really amazing.
Are Cohen's run concepts different at all, or is it just the same stuff, maybe in a different kind of moment?
Man, coach do his own thing. He got his own thing. He's got his own mind. He got, his schemes be more the same, but the schemes be different with coach. Like, he just got a lot of stuff going, so it's really nice. He's unique and very smart coach.
So you like it?
Yeah, I like it. Just got to get used to it.
All right, how you feeling going into another season? A little bit of a different offense. How's it getting used to everything?
Man, first, just thankful, man. I feel good to be out here with the team, be out here with the guys. It feel good to come in year 3, feeling the flow of things, just getting this offense underneath us and start playing fast. So it feels real good, man.
You put on some extra weight during the offseason?
Nah, I actually just leaned up a little bit.
Okay.
But same weight, 209.
What sort of work did you do, I guess, kind of getting ready for this grind?
Just running, and doing a lot of speed work, Pilates and yoga and stuff like that, just taking care of my body, trying to take it to the next level.
That's something different, or that's what you normally kind of do?
I added hot yoga to it, but I normally been doing Pilates, but the hot yoga is serious.
Yeah.
It's serious burns.
Prepare you for the heat out here, though.
Yeah, it do.
You gotta love when you hear a new head coach talk about like wanting to commit to running the ball like Liam has.
Yes, sir. That got, it's music to our ears. We just gotta, like I said, get ahead of this playbook and keep going and getting better and better every day. Every opportunity we get, we gotta take advantage of it. That's all it's about.
I think at the end of last year, we were asking guys kind of what you guys' vision for the next coaching staff was, and a lot of people were saying a younger staff that could kind of relate. You kind of got your wish in this thing. Has the energy been there? Is there a different vibe with this staff?
Yeah, they got a lot of energy. Great coaches. They have a lot of energy. Come out ready to go. Smart guys and just ready to fly around. They speak life into us, so we're just ready to do it.
You start kind of chomping at the bit for training camp at all?
You say, man, nah. I try not to get too high for training camp. Just be level, because it's like this. Everything comes like this. So, yeah, I'm ready for it, though. I can't wait.
Just to put the pads on.
Yeah. I'm so tired. When you run the ball, you can't really do nothing for real, but, just get tagged off and all this stuff. But when you get pads on, it's a little different.
Well, appreciate you, bro.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Appreciate you, Tank.
Oh, man, I love Tank Bigsby, what he just said. Everybody asked me the same thing, Tank. You can't wait for football season? I'm like, absolutely, I can wait for football season. He was like, nah, Tank, it's going to be a good break. I'm looking forward to it. Tank looks good, by the way. And a couple of things. I'm always fascinated with what these guys do to their bodies, like off season. And like he mentioned Pilates and the hot yoga stuff. And I'm like, oh, maybe I should try that. And I don't. But then 209, he's leaner. He looks like that. I don't know if that's going to, I don't know what this stuff it produces, right? But I think it's kind of the maturation of a player. I think it's going to be very interesting to watch Travis Hunter and watch his body size, his type, because he's a pretty lean guy. He's not big. We've commented on that. Your first impression is like, whoa, he is not like this physical, crazy specimen. Now, he's pretty ripped, pretty cut up. Good looking athlete, but by NFL standards, it's not like he's like, oh, wow. Right. And you wonder if they'll put more weight. What does he look like when he's 25 years old, 26 years old? I think we're going to see that difference. I brought up Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's body looks totally different now than it did, when he entered the league some 6 years ago, whatever that is. So there is a fascination a little bit with that and how these guys mature and grow up and kind of take care of their bodies to make it, durable and lasting for their pro careers. We have this conversation a bunch with the Jags defense, with Josh Hines Allen and Trayvon Walker. So that part is kind of fascinating, how you can lose the body, some of that body fat, whatever else, and he stays at 209. So he probably feels really good going into this year, is my guess. The other thing that was pretty attention grabbing for me on the Tank Bigsby stuff is he did not want to say anything about the Liam Cohen run scheme and offense. again, that goes back to that secret sauce stuff a little bit. There have been some players that have mentioned, he like ETN did, and you'll hear Parker Washington probably tomorrow, where he mentions, they got guys moving all over the place. They're putting us all in different locations and stuff, and different spots, and it's kind of nice. You're not just stuck in one area.
Mm-hmm.
So that speaks to me of, while Cohen's offense is obviously multiple and very, in some sense, it also isn't that stale, predictable offense of Doug Peterson. If you go back to what people were saying at the end of last year, that was the knock on Doug and press and what they were doing. It was very predictable. It seems like there will be less of that, of course, with Liam Cohen and the Jaguars. But I found it interesting that he didn't want to shed too much light on that and say, hey, we're not giving up the secrets. I also wonder if actually Liam Cohen has even said that, or other people in the offensive building have said, hey guys, listen, we've got an advantage here. So you can certainly answer questions, and it's football at the end of the day, but don't give away too much of what we're trying to do. We think we can use that as an advantage down the road. I wouldn't be surprised if they actually say that.
I wouldn't either. I think that part of that, Brent, could be because, ETN will be moving around and all the receivers will be moving around. Tank, he's probably not going to be moving around a ton compared to those guys. He's certainly not going to be moving outside. So maybe for him, it's not that complicated. He's got to line up to the left of Trevor, to the right of Trevor, and behind Trevor. And that's pretty much it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's a good point. Like Tank, you mentioned, the other backs in the room we think can catch the football really well and utilize that. Tank is not known for that. He's just not. He's not known for his hands. We've seen some go off his hands. Can he catch the football out of the backfield? Absolutely. Can you screen pass to him? Absolutely. But are you going to highlight that in his game? Probably not. Right. And so while Travis Etienne might be lined up in the slot just to get him matched up on a linebacker or even outside where we've seen that in the past, that's something that we can envision. Most likely not going to get that with Tank Bigsby. Probably could get it with the other backs. There's a lot of, I think Daniel Griffiths tweeted some stuff about, it's LaQuint Allen, right? The 7th rounder. And he had like the most catches in the NCAA last year for Syracuse. So get ready to see that. They've got a plan for him, to get him in games and maybe use him as a receiving back. We think Tootin can do that too, and we know ETN can do that.
Absolutely. And my thing is, I saw some video over the weekend of LaQuint Allen catching some passes, and I just wonder if they're going to be able to keep all four of them on the active roster. Not to say that LaQuint Allen's position is not secure, at least on the practice squad or whatever, but I know historically you got to keep three, and I think one of the LaQuint Allen might be one of the biggest stories potentially of training camp in the preseason, right? We're certainly going to see him, and I would think that we're going to see at least a decent bit of all four of them, considering the fact that it's a new scheme. You need to get those guys some reps, and none of them are necessarily battling any injuries or coming back from any big ones, and they're all should be plenty fresh. But like, what can LaQuint Allen? Is there any? Obviously, they're not going to show off too much, but are we going to see some creativity with LaQuint Allen out of the backfield, a wheel route here, angle route here, and what's the relationship like? Because if we know anything in the preseason more than anything is check down city. Like half of the passes in the preseason are check downs, just because we're trying to avoid the sack and at least get the ball into a player's hand, and we've cut off 50% of the playbook, if not more. So wouldn't be surprised if LaQuint Allen, that's your time to show something and potentially work your way in. If not, hey, at least him being drafted and already we're at least talking about him. Whereas I don't think last year we necessarily even talked, like Keelan Robinson technically I guess would have been the fourth back on the team before he was injured. And I don't quite remember exactly when he was injured, but I don't necessarily remember us talking about him at this point last year as a necessarily even kind of a viable option or looking forward to anything from being able to do something as the fourth running back. It was all kind of special teams. But just the fact that we're talking about LaQuint Allen makes me like, obviously wish this wouldn't happen, but if one guy goes down, I have never seen Tootin play a down of professional football. I've seen only highlights from college. Same thing with Quinn Allen and a couple of, a handful of shots from OTAs. But for some reason, I already feel more comfortable given one guy goes down and the depth of the room than I have in years past.
Well, I think the reason why you feel comfortable is because it's Austin's definition of intangibly rich. These guys have produced at the college level. They've produced a lot. And so, and also there's a chess piece here. Tootin can also return kicks.
Right.
Keelan Robinson, when this time last year, we were like, okay, he might return kicks. Like that's what he was going to do. He wasn't even going to factor into the running back room. He was going to return kicks. So I think Tootin is going to return kicks in some way, shape, or form. I think he can do that. And then obviously the other special team usage of Quinn Allen is super important here if he's going to be up and active on a game day. And then you can get him mixed in the passing game in some way, shape, or form. And what does that look like? Will that happen? Who really knows? There's a lot of questions about the running back room, but I think a lot of good curiosity about the running back room as well for all of these guys. I think they're versatile. I think they have a versatile running back room, and they have some speed. They've got guys that can do some different things, and they need that running game to really click. So I hope they're right, along with the offensive line. Brent Martineau, Jason Hamby, Austen Lane going to join us back in the noon hour as well. We're going to talk a little bit about the Houston Texans versus the Jaguars roster and how they're built. By the way, this picture right here, that's called a Home Run Derby champ for you, Hamby, from years ago. They stopped the Home Run Derby, so I can't win anymore. But the first one ever with walk-off charities, this guy was the winner. Look at the size of that trophy. This is me walking in the second year with the trophy as the defending champ. I even had a hat and shirt made that said Home Run Derby champ.
Brent, I think if there's one thing I've learned over my many years is that you've got to be a very special person to rock the backwards hat, closed face with confidence. I can't do it. I wouldn't advise it to anybody, but this isn't the worst look I've ever seen. It's like one of my things that if you go closed hat all the way around, fitted cap, you can't go backwards. You're doing it, and it's not the end of the world for me right here.
Yeah, well, this is a little less puffy, Brent, too, because we're more in the May-June cycle of the calendar year. Again, one that still doesn't really qualify now, but then it worked pretty good.
I'm going to give you credit for the hat, and I know, what year are we talking here?
I think this was probably around 17 or 18.
Okay, so this would not play nowadays. Maybe it played a little bit back then. You get credit for the hat. You get discredited for the knee bangers that you're wearing, those shorts. We're not playing basketball. We got to get those a little bit higher. We don't need them going all the way past the knee. So we got to fix that. But other than that, I mean, this is a yard work kind of feel here, Brent.
I'm not a big fan, I will say, though, of I know times change in terms of clothing, and this was probably a decent look 7 or 8 years ago. I'm still not wearing this country club fraternity bro, short crap that all these kids are wearing now. This short stuff by the high school kids and the college kids is ridiculous. We make fun of that stuff growing up. You're not finding anybody my age in that. I think it's a terrible look. We call them bleep huggers, those things. All right. Get them out of the way. I don't know why. I don't know why. If I was a girl in high school and I saw a kid wearing that stuff, that's not attractive.
Look, I'll be honest.
I know you're young, so you're wearing them.
I'm not the country club guy at all. So I'm not like the golf shorts that are that high, but I am like the gym shorts, like the regular black shorts, I don't know what it is, 5 or 7 inch seam. So I am guilty of taking the jog across from the dugout to the first base coaching box. Even over the weekend over at Sandalwood, we had a tournament. I am guilty of the keys coming underneath and showing in the pocket underneath the shorts because I'm getting a little jog in, a hard 90, if you will, over to the box, or the wallet's hanging down a little bit. I'm guilty of that as well, having to grab onto them so they don't, swing
onto something else.
Well, no, I wasn't going to go there. I mean, it's not necessarily, we don't got to anyways. Thanks, Brent. But I am guilty of that, but I'm also not guilty of these things going almost down to my ankles.
All right, I'm way late on a break, so let's get the hell out of here for a minute. And Brent and Austen Show, Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network. Kind of compare that Houston Texans roster, what they're trying to build and do versus what the Jaguars, that's still on the way. We checked back with Austen Lane. Hey, Murray State plays for a spot in Omaha today. He's got to be excited about that. He will be watching some college baseball on this Monday, that is for sure. We'll take a break, be right back. And don't forget, by the way, to recycle the right way with Republic Services. All you have to do is hit recyclingsimplified.com, recyclingsimplified.com. Become a better recycler at your workplace and at home by visiting Republic Services and recyclingsimplified.com. Most of us know how to throw. But you need to know what to throw. I'm not talking about footballs, baseballs, softballs. We're talking about those items you need to recycle. Republic Services explains it easy. Recycling simplified. 1. Know what to throw. When in doubt, throw it out. 2. Empty, clean, and dry those materials. It takes an extra minute, but it makes a big difference. And 3. Don't bag it. This makes the recycling process faster and more efficient. This is a look at the Republic Services North Florida Recycling Center. You can make this process even more efficient. By utilizing those 3 steps, Republic Services can help you become a better recycler in your home. Learn more at recyclingsimplified.com.
For the game day hustle and every day in between, juggling my show Jag Social to going under the Friday night lights and a social life, it's a daily tournament, but this ride, MVP status. The all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus isn't just my car, it's my personal locker room, office on the go, and VIP lounge on wheels. Let's talk tech. My profile remembers everything from customizing my dash display to setting the ambient lighting and my signature scent. And wireless charging, essential for live tweeting scores. Whether I'm packing for a beach day with friends or heading to the gym, there's space for every passion. After dominating all day, this becomes my recovery zone. The massage feature is like having a personal PT on call. Life's a non-stop game, but with this ride, I'm always on my A game. The 2024 Lincoln Nautilus. Drive your passion.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242.
You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing.
Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Save 10% off any water heater plus no trip charge. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. For a limited time, CGC is waiving the trip charge on all related plumbing calls. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
If you look good, you feel good. And the medical professionals here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics are here to make you feel your best. I'm on camera every week, and I have a confession to make. I'm not always confident in my appearance. Can you see my dark circles? Is my makeup highlighting my fine lines instead of covering them up? I question it all. So when I found out about the wide variety of procedures here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics, I knew help was just one appointment away. Medical Director Dr. Megan Deacon Casey and her board-certified physicians have been using the latest in cutting-edge technology for the last 10 years, giving men and women their personal confidence boost. From Botox, fillers, Morpheus 8, and so much more. The hardest part was figuring out what I needed. Thankfully, the medical team walked me through what would work best for me through a free consultation. Come look and feel your best with the team here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics. Visit them at one of their 2 locations, either over in Ponte Vedra or on the south side.
Welcome inside the Armor Guard exterior and gutter helmet showroom. There's a lot going on, like glass exteriors, replacement windows, and down there we have the retractable screens and awnings, plus hurricane protection. Let's talk more about those gutters, and to do that, we bring in Kevin. He's the owner, he's the expert. Why gutter helmet?
Well, gutter helmet is truly the only maintenance-free product. It lets the trash and debris go on the ground, the water wraps around and goes inside. Unlike filters, they sit on top of the gutters, and the trash and debris build up on top of filters, which requires maintenance. With gutter helmet, we're going to keep you off the ladder, the most dangerous thing in your garage. With gutter helmet, you'll never clean your gutters again. So get off the ladder and put on the helmet. Gutter helmet.
Get a free estimate at gutterhelmetofnorthflorida.com. You can also call 904-762-7779 or visit the showroom on St. John's Bluff Road in Jacksonville.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Yeah, there's look at that. See, get off my lawn about the shorts. Maybe you should wear like overalls, like I'm wearing in that shot.
Right.
Hamby, those short shorts have got to go. I don't know why those are in. I just don't get it. I don't get it for the guys.
Brent, how about your
comfortable?
You have mini feet here. Mini feet. You wear a size 3.
That's funny. I got a lot of these get off my lawns. We probably could have rolled this thing about 5 different times
Already today, yeah.
Brent Martineau along with Jason Hamby and Austen Lane will join us from South Florida in just a little bit. I'm up here in New York, and a little shout out to Sam Kavaris up at Augusta. I took this picture this year. Kavaris has a parking spot up there for all his times covering the Masters. They really do a nice job taking care of people that have been in it for a long time. So in the business and have covered the event. So he's got his name on the wall up there. And I usually see Sam when I'm up there in Augusta. So this was the picture. By the way, we are, we're having a lot of fun. Somebody brought up earlier today, like, hey, nice job, Austen, with Pete Prisco and JP. He's been doing happy hour on Jaguars.com. And, I don't know how often he's been doing it, to be honest with you, but I know he's been working in and out of there. And heck, who knows? He might be doing a lot more with Pete and JP down the road. I don't think that means he's stopping doing anything here, just in addition to. And I think that would be pretty cool. But when they brought up Pete, we just on Friday recorded an hour segment with Pete. And we've done this with Tony Baselli and Gene Fournette and Pedro Bregan and some others. And we got more on our list, including Sam Kavaris as well. And we're starting a new show in July called Storytellers of the 904. And really excited about it. I don't know if everybody else is going to like this as much as I'm enjoying it. But a little bit of it was selfish in terms of, like, I want to talk about it. I want to see some of the people that have been in the industry for a long time, what they've seen in Jacksonville, how the industry's changed. And then, of course, some figures like Bregan, and we're planning to get Artis Gilmore and some others on. This is just the start of it. There are a million people, it feels like, in Jacksonville you could have on a show like this. So we're just getting it off the ground. But it will debut like right after the 4th of July is our plan right now. So heavy dose of it in July and August on our Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. And looking forward to kind of putting them together. We've recorded a lot of it. We still have to do some editing to them, and then we'll launch it in July on the network. But I'm excited about that. And I think actually the idea behind it, Hamby, is really for anybody to enjoy. But one of my ideas is really for me to enjoy, but the other one for people like your age, if they wanted to kind of know what Jacksonville was about 20, 30 years ago, even before I got here. And so a lot of the conversation is with people that have been around Jacksonville for decades. And this place has just really changed. I mean, it has changed from a college football town when it comes to sports to a pro town now. I mean, it's not a college football town anymore. How people covered things back in the 80s and 90s based on how we cover it today. One, because of resources, the business changes, the newspaper business changes, other things pop up. And then some of the people who have either been a part of it and gone on, like Pete. Pete's been a national guy for 25 years, but has stayed connected to Jacksonville. And he told some great Tom Coughlin stories, man. I mean, it's going to be good stuff to hear. Some of these conversations, I think you'll like it. But a lot of it's for somebody like you, if you're listening, driving in the car, to go kind of back and listen to some of these folks. You've probably heard the names of these people, but I mean, shoot, a lot of people your age now, they haven't even seen guys like Sam Kavaris on TV anymore, or Pete wouldn't even remember that he used to live in Jacksonville and write for 15 years for the Times Union.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is like the Jags. I think a lot of the people my age, fans of the Jaguars my age, we're most curious about what did the organization look like in its infancy in the first couple of years, and how it grew from, an expansion team. And, even still as a Jaguars fans, I have so many questions and so many, you don't know what you don't know about how in the world we had so much success in the first couple of years in the Brunell and Baselli days. And what did the NFL think of us at that time? And did that almost spur, the city of Jacksonville? Obviously, as you mentioned, you get an NFL football team, you're going to become an NFL town. That's obvious. But how did that spur the city towards welcoming a team where, everybody already had a team, most likely in Jacksonville, because it still was a sports town to a large extent, Georgia, Florida, right? And just the from what I know about the town, obviously everybody's moving here, and it's always been a popular place to be for decades. Everybody already had a team, though. So how it's grown, and we've talked about it a lot, the different perspectives of how even I watch a game versus my dad watches a game, or the Jags are all I've ever known, right? And this is I am the first generation of really fans that were born, and this was my first team. Right up the road from when I was born, and there's so many different dynamics to go along with that. So I am very interested in, especially guys like Prisco and guys that I know them now almost semi-nationally from Happy Hour and some other things, and don't have any recollection of them being local guys.
Yeah, I think, and by the way, I have no idea. I'm not trying to predict and say like there are a million of you out there, or tens of thousands of people that are your age or my kid's age that really is dying to hear about this stuff. But I do think at some point, and it might not be now, it might be when you're 20, 22, 25 years old and you're a big sports fan in Jacksonville, that at some point you're going to go back and you'll be like, who the heck are these guys that they're talking about? Like, I know, like, there are people like that for me that I don't really, like, I got to town in 2008, so I don't know. Like the people in the radio world will talk about a guy like Jay Solomon quite a bit. At one time was the voice of the JU Dolphins, and kind of helped start sports talk radio, or did start sports talk radio in Jacksonville, is the way it's been described to me. But he passed on, and I never knew him, but I've heard it. But so, like, if you had this kind of conversation now, I'd love to go back and listen to what that guy did and what it was all about and everything else. And so a little bit of it's that. Honestly, most of this is just a scratch and itch for me, because I think some of it's fascinating how much the world has changed, the industry's changed, but also Jacksonville has changed in the last 30 or 40 years. And I'm also fascinated with how many people are really get to tell their story in Jacksonville, from athletes that we talk about all the time. I mention this all the time. It's like we don't even we just like assume, or we take it for granted that we got Artis Gilmore who is basically now from here. I know he's not from here originally, or we talk about the Derrick Henrys of the world or the Tebows of the world. We have so many athletes that have some pretty incredible stories to tell. So anyway, that'll be a new series coming out in July. Looking forward to that. One of the questions that I ask almost everybody, and this would be an interesting one, and probably will ask people down the road. It's been an interesting one for you, Hamby. When you think of Jacksonville sports, what do you think? Who do you think about?
Oof. Jacksonville sports? Goodness.
And there's no right answer. But when for everybody, this can be different.
I mean, honestly, My first memories of professional football were Byron Leftwich into the David Garrard days. And I always go back to those. And for some reason, none of those were attached to wins and losses for me. I know the teams weren't very good, and Garrard obviously went like 500 multiple times. But I remember watching Byron Leftwich and David Garrard being able to launch a football. And for a long time, those are my first memories, but also just like that's what I think of when I think of like the history of Jags football, because of those were the first guys. Like I don't think of Minshew. I don't even think of necessarily Trevor Lawrence. I mean, if I want to be recent, when you think about Jacksonville sports, you're going to say Trevor Lawrence. It's crazy that in 10 years, that answer for probably everybody who's my age, come 2034, is going to be Travis Hunter, unequivocally, as long as he's here for a second contract, which we hope he will be already, can say that. But it's strictly football for me when I think of Jacksonville sports, even though I know we've had so many other athletes. Like, I mean, I went to school with Grayson Allen. Obviously, we had the Tebows. I mean, you even go back a little further, you get, your Brian Dawkins and guys like that. Like, it's always, it's like, it's the Jags quarterback that grew up on, and that was always, Byron Leftwich and David Garrard.
Yeah, that's pretty interesting. I don't think I'm going to get a lot of those, by the way, but that's cool. Like, that's good. I think, Roger says for me, it's Mark, Fred, Jimmy, Tony. Hamby's Burner has a great comment here. It's like Leonard Skinner came back. Jacksonville had a new good football team in the late 90s, probably Awesome and Duval. And that's kind of the point of this whole thing, right? Is like that era in Jacksonville was kind of a neat era. Think about it. You've got the Gators reimagining the SEC, and Steve Spurrier is like dominating. Mm-hmm. You've got Florida State, very good. You've got Miami, very good. So your college teams are awesome. And then you got the Jags, here they come. And then in the middle of it all, you can kind of wonder, even from, and I don't know this as well, but like from a city standpoint, like what's morphing, right? You're going to get the Super Bowl in 2005, which means some of the work goes in pretty early for that, which then creates opportunity in building downtown and et cetera, like kind of like we have now. I'm assuming there was some movement downtown, some big vision downtown, whether that was with Delaney or Mayor Godbold back in the day. Like, I don't know which time frame all of this is, because I don't pay attention to my politics enough here in Jacksonville, but and then just think of the media landscape. I mean, you've got, I can tell you this, CBS 47 as it is and Fox 30 as it is didn't exist until 1996 or 1997. So in town, you had like Channel 4, which was a CBS affiliate, and then also First Coast News, which was ABC and I think NBC even at that time. And that's all you had. Plus you had the Times Union. Of course, the paper's a big deal still at that time. So you have really good writers and people and a lot of people reading it. You have no internet, and I don't know where. I think they had like the Ball sports radio wise, like that was it. Like that was kind of the start of sports radio. So the Jacksonville University Dolphins are still a big deal in basketball. UNF Ospreys are Division II. Think about that. How much has changed in a 25 to 30 year landscape here in Jacksonville? And again, that's kind of some of the point of this new show called Storytellers of the 904. I'm just fascinated by all of that. That's not a long time ago. And I almost wonder if we're in the middle of another one right here. Mm-hmm. When you have Travis Hunter and you have Trevor Lawrence and you have Shad Khan making the moves he's making, and you have a new stadium on the horizon. The Jags are going to be here for another 30 plus years. The college landscape is totally different than it has been. Could we look up in 10, 15, 20, 25 years and people are talking about this area and now talking about UNF Osprey softball and JU baseball or something like that, because they've figured out a way in this new college landscape to make things work? Like, who knows, right? Who knows? So it's pretty wild to me. And that's kind of part of the reason why we started that show. Again, it'll happen in July. We'll tease that and show you a little bit. I think you're going to like some of the conversations. You'll like some more than others. That's always the case. But I think we just taped one with Pete the other day, and it was good stuff. for sure. Hey, speaking of good stuff, Daniel Griffiths writes for us. He's been doing a great job. He wrote on Travis Hunter all last week, by the way. So all different articles on Travis Hunter, actionsportsjax.com. Attached is now our full interview, 15 minutes with Travis, if you missed it. We got bits and pieces all over social media. That will continue today. We squeezed everything out of the Travis Hunter interview, just about. And we'll continue to do that probably over the next day or two. But you can find a lot of this on actionsportsjax.com. Hamby, let's throw up the article for today, and it's got to do with the slot. And when we're talking about the slot, we're talking about on the offensive side. I think earlier in the show, Austen said, hey, I don't know what the Jags are going to do necessarily with their wide receivers. It looks like they can do a lot of things. I think we had somebody in the chat, maybe it was Hamby's burner, I'm not sure, say all three guys can do similar things. So it's going to be pretty wild how they line them up. Well, here's the alignment rates that we have for their respective places they've been. Brian Thomas Jr. really mixed up in the slot late in the year more than any other time, and I think that caught the attention of everybody. Dyami Brown, look at that, in Washington. Very similar, Hamby, to what Brian Thomas did here.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you look at the numbers, it's almost dead even. And this is why I continue to have to go back and because I cannot help, and I think if we're honest, a lot of fans are this way. We cannot help but think of Dyami Brown as a slot receiver. And I can't even necessarily put my finger on why that is. I know the build is an extreme outside, but it's obviously what he played when he was with the Commanders. Cohen, at multiple different times over this offseason, has said he is good on the outside. I don't know if he's even necessarily been mentioned specifically as a slot, but we continue to think of him as a slot. I don't think I'm alone in that. And so the thing is like, while Travis Hunter is not playing 100% of the snaps, while we do think he's going to play a large majority of them on offense, Dyami Brown is a huge piece and a huge factor in this offense. And you know, we will hear from Parker Washington, like you said, either most likely tomorrow, but a spot is really open for Parker. And we knew that, especially when they cut Christian Kirk. But when we signed Dyami Brown, I think, again, some of it was like, oh, he's going to take some of Parker Washington's reps, and he very well could. But I think the more we go, we're going to learn that the slot is everybody's job, but percentage-wise, Parker is going to have a lot of snaps, and he's going to be asked to produce in a way that he has not had before.
I actually think the most alarming percentage on this graphic right here is Parker Washington not in the slot as much as I thought he'd be. But he needed to move around because of the injuries.
Right.
So I actually think he's more slot receiver than anything else. Like when you label Christian Kirk, you labeled him as a slot receiver. He was in that primarily. I think Parker was definitely, that's what he was here for. He was almost like that guy to potentially groom and replace Christian Kirk, quite frankly. But what's interesting about this is Parker can play on the outside. That's cool. Travis Hunter, we'll see if he moves and gets some slot time. I think he will, because again, that's where you can get some matchup craziness. Dyami Brown will continue to have at least that kind of separation in terms of the percentages, I would think 3-1 maybe. But the fascinating number here on this whole graphic might be Brian Thomas Jr., 7 touchdowns from the slot. So how can you look at that if you're Liam Cohen and look at those numbers and be like, oh, wait a minute, he had 7 of his 10 touchdowns from the slot. Is that just a thing? Why did that happen? Do we have to do that? Is there a big play capability there? Is it just a red zone thing there? You can't ignore that stat right there, Hamby. I think the slot becomes a place for all of these guys to potentially live and get matchups. And I think that's what's fun about this wide receiving core is that you can move them all around the place. You can bubble screen them. You can send them deep. You can mix and match in the red zone. there's a lot to like here, and I think that's why they've built a nice receiving core, and for Liam Cohen and Udinski and everybody else to kind of lay their head on the pillow at night and start thinking about, man, oh, I can put him here, him there, him there, him there. They're almost interchangeable. Now, they're not necessarily to say Parker Washington's as good as Brian Thomas Jr., but they're interchangeable in terms of the roles, what they can do, which I think could be a tricky thing for defenses to quite figure out and also match up their best guys on the Jags' best guys.
Right. And as we've learned, especially with Cohen now, and every time that we've heard him talk, truly, it's all about matchups. And we've known that, but I don't think we've necessarily been shown that by the way that the offense has been called in the last couple of years. And I even go back to when Cohen talked about Trevor Lawrence just last week and his progression with his footwork, right? He's talking about how they've changed it, not necessarily changed it, but they're working on some things so that he knows exactly where to go with the football. And I got to think that it's over. It's not simple now, but the end goal for Trevor is to make it simpler than it ever has been, as far as when the ball, like as far as his reads go, as far as understanding what the defense is trying to do, and when the ball has to be out to certain guys. And I think that the creativity and the fact that, Brian Thomas Jr. might line up in the slot for 8 snaps. And he might be on the outside by himself for 20 snaps. And he might be in a duo with Travis Hunter for 20 snaps. Or we might be in trips sometimes. And obviously those are things that every offense does. I'm not saying Doug's offense didn't do that last year. But the fact that, like you said, positionally all of these guys seem like they can be interchangeable, I got to think that's got to play to their advantage as far as, like I said, you can pick a guy on defense that you want to go after, and you can use Brian Thomas's skill set in one aspect, then you can use Dyami's speed and shiftiness in another, run after catch. You can use Travis Hunter's athleticism and go-getting abilities again in another way, and Parker Washington, route running in another. Like, it's the possibilities are kind of endless when nobody's pigeonholed into a specific position.
Yeah, not only that, I think the way this works is with the running backs too. You start thinking about all the different, things they can do from a lineup standpoint, what guys are talking about in terms of moving the backs to the slot, that 21 pony personnel, which is, I just love it because I just want to see 2 backs on the field at the same time, especially when you have versatility. Again, we're going to see an offense that feels at least more creative. You've got to be able to execute. You got to be able to stay healthy to be able to do that all the time. And you got to be able to be good and get first downs to be able to showcase that more. Like, these are some of the things that the Jags, I will say, Doug Peterson and Press Taylor, they didn't have at their disposal the last year and a half as much. They weren't consistent enough to get first downs, to be able to get into the other parts of their playbook, and they weren't healthy enough to be able to probably run everything that they wanted to run with the guys that they had repped it with so many different times, in off-season camp and everything else in practice. So, those are a couple of excuses that I think they can use. I do think overall this is a more involved and player-friendly offense to get the playmakers the football. I think just that's the mission statement from Liam Cohen. All right, let's do this. Take a break. Brent and Austen Show, Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network. When we come back, Austen Lane will join us for the rest of the show. And a couple other things that I do want to get into. The Houston Texans, how they're building this. They add Nick Chubb. Do you like what they're doing? Are you afraid of what they're doing? What are they doing? And then another thing to at least touch on, we're going to have Nick Morrow, UNF athletic director, in studio, it looks like, later in the week, once we can digest everything that went on with the NCAA this week and that court ruling. But there are some things that are pretty interesting. If you didn't catch it, it's so involved, so we won't get caught up in the minutia, but just a couple of bullet points. If you saw, the college game has already changed. The college game, quite frankly, is a mess. And the college game is going to continue to change. Like, we have no idea what it looks like in the next 3-5 years. Think about that in sports. Think about that in life. How do you absolutely have no idea how something is going to work and look like in the next 3 to 5 years? There are a lot of things that you can say, yeah, it's unpredictable, and blah, 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 but you have at least something in your mind that you can envision. I don't think most people have in their mind what college sports are going to look like over the next in 2030. I really don't think they know. Now, you could guess, and we might too, but I don't think you know. We'll be back. Brent and Austen Show, Action Sports Jax 24/7 Network. Don't forget to hit up our friends at Nimnick Buick GMC, right off Phillips Highway, NimnickBuickGMC.com. As well, as you enter the summer months, get some sizzling deals at NimnickBuickGMC.com. And right off Phillips Highway, our friends at Nimnick Buick GMC. I drive the 2000 GMC Sierra. Absolutely love it. You can get a truck as well, or a bunch of different makes and models on the lot, used or new, at Nimnick Buick GMC.
There's a saying in sports, you can't win them all, but you can win a lot with good folks on your team. Like that one painter, First Coast. It's tough to beat the sun in Florida, so your home fades. It's tough to beat that HOA when they come calling. Beat the sun, beat the HOA with that one painter, First Coast. And it's a good time to do it. Less rain to work around, and painting in mild temperatures is perfect. After all, the paint bonds to the surface so much better. Give that one painter First Coast a call at 904-417-3557 or look them up at first-coast.thatonepainter.com. Fast estimate, guidance on color and HOA requirements, and the highest quality job you'll find anywhere. Be a big winner in your neighborhood with that one painter First Coast on your team.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jax 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
It's fast-paced.
Hands off on first down, and there goes Edward Vander.
High fly.
Wide open receiver, it's caught!
Action-packed, weekend fun. Fun for the entire family. It's the Jacksonville Sharks.
I feel like anybody could play in this league. It's gotta be like backyard football, right?
Whoa! This ain't the Arena League, Brent. This is the indoor league, and they play defense here.
It's a lot safer to just watch the professionals play. And watching is a lot of fun. A party in the stands at the arena for kids and adults. And it's indoors. Get out of the heat for the summer and watch the Sharks shine inside. Jacksonville Sharks football, season number 15. It's the Drive for 5, and it's still alive. Get your tickets at jacksharks.com.
Are you about to graduate high school and haven't decided on what you want to do when you get done? Well, one option is to apply to become a student in the Electrical Training Alliance of Jacksonville. Their program offers structured classroom and online training, along with on-the-job training so that you can earn while you learn. Still not convinced? The folks at ETA Jax are a tuition-free 4-year apprenticeship program. There is no tuition and no student debt. Just pay for your books and your fees. That's it. Now, speaking of pay, students, they start off making $40,000 per year, including benefits, and they graduate, get this, making over $80,000 per year, including those sought-after benefits. Now, that sounds pretty good to me, and if that sounds good to you, it should check off a lot of boxes. So head on over to etajax.org and apply by May 15th. Again, the website right here, etajax.org. Don't wait, apply today.
Grab some friends and go to a restaurant or head out for a drink and some conversation. Watch your favorite team play on the big screen. Or how about play some games? You can do all of that in one night at Best Bet. Each location has a different vibe, its own personality, like here at the original Best Bet in Orange Park. When you walk through these doors, everybody knows your name. And here in St. Augustine, it's the newest location. Play some poker. How about the table games? And don't forget about Ace's Sports Bar and Grill. And then there's the Jacksonville location right here on Monument Road. It's the biggest poker room in the state of Florida. Maybe you'll find yourself a seat right here at the final table. Best Bet, where you can have the best of times. And that makes you always go home a winner. Try any of the 3 locations, and you can always visit bestbetjacks.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
So the Packers releasing Jair Alexander, one of our top stories today. And would the Jaguars be interested in Alexander? I'm sure there's like some level of interest, but just at least taking a peek around. And they probably saw this coming too. The league circles talk before everybody else does. But we came to the conclusion today, kind of like, no thanks. I don't know if everybody feels that way, but I want to see Jarian Jones for the cost that would be to Jair Alexander, whose game has regressed a little bit. Does it make sense? So we actually, at the start of the show with Austin, when he was in for the first part, I don't think so. So I'm not sure how other people feel about it. Feels a little bit bigger name than game. That's one of the things we're going to talk about a little bit with Houston right now. They've got a lot of names. How is the game for a guy like Nick Chubb, who goes to the Houston Texans? I want to wait till Austin probably checks back in. I mean, usually he'll come back in before the end of the show. We'll see. His workout might be going a little bit long. So before we get to that, I want to at least address real quick the NCAA changes that came about on a Friday news drop. And, this has been expected, just so everybody knows. But the big deal now, the headline is schools can now pay players. Like, that is basically the bottom line. They can pay players. There are a lot of things that I think I know about it, but I'm not sure I know about it because I'm not really that smart. And I tried to read up on some of the things. I thought some guys did a really nice job of sharing some of the bullet points, but the interpretation of that, I think it's still pretty loose and not everybody knows. This kind of reminds me of like the quarterback, what's his name, at Vanderbilt, when he
Pavia.
Yeah, Pavia, when he had legislation that gave him an extra year. And immediately after that, people are like, oh, well, now you can go to JUCO and it doesn't count against your eligibility. Well, that's not, that didn't happen. That's not true. Like that, moms and dads and other people. I mean, Kaylee's going to junior college. Everybody's like, oh, these don't even count. I was like, no, that hasn't happened. A little bit is the same case here. It's like, okay, we know some parameters, but I mean, I even talked to Nick Morrow yesterday, just briefly via text, because I wanted to see if we can get him on this week. And he's still down at some kind of meeting, and they're still figuring this thing out. Like, even though the ruling has been made, they're really not 100% sure on all the layers. And they've been in the loop on them. And so you set a plan in motion. And that's what I'm fascinated about, is like how much, if you're UNF or JU, or how much if you're a Florida or Florida State, have you had to kind of plan for this ruling, and what's the domino effect? There are some quick things on like Friday night when this went down, that because there's going to be a third-party NIL that goes into effect, I think it went into effect at like midnight that night, that they said like the Wild Wild West was open for another like 2.5 hours basically. And so if you wanted to go sign Jason Hamby to an NIL deal, it didn't have to go through the whole system that this third party is going to use. So you can just be like shelling out money. And there's some thought that happened. I didn't follow too much of that on the weekend, but there's some thought that happened in that night. Now everything else is going to go through this third party. And I saw like there's like a 12-step like checklist for NIL dollars.
Because it's got to be a real deal.
It's got to be a real deal. I think there's some ambiguity to it, even with those 12, that checklist. If you're in the pocket, can you get in the pocket of this third party? Like, is there going to be some of that at some point? Again, these are just, when we think of the NCAA, we think of college sports, we just start thinking negative stuff right away, right? I mean, that's just the way it is. And it just hasn't been done very well. Like, I think about this, quite frankly, and I'm not trying to hammer anybody, but it's going to sound like it. Like, the NCAA have been a bunch of idiots, really, for the last however many years. Like, I'm sure they're really smart people, but their lack of vision has got us to a point of this. The whole good old boy network, when you enter the South and you talk about the SEC and other places, things that have run college sports, has been so get off my lawn and so archaic that we got to this point over a 5-year period, basically, that we're now paying players to play. If they had any foresight, any vision, any betterment for the sport, any we're doing this for the greater good, we probably wouldn't be here. But because they didn't have, in my opinion, whether it's the right people in part of the NCAA, whether it's the right people in part of conferences in terms of commissioners, whether it's the right people and presidents and universities and ADs, and even some of your big-time coaches looking out for the greater good of where this sport would be, we wouldn't be here. We would have come up with something better than what this is now of paying $20 million a year to players. So the lack of vision by all of those parties, and I'm not saying it would have been easy, but the lack of vision now sets up this next era of college sports, but we're still leaning on similar people to make it, do it by the rules, do it the right way, and do it for the greater good, which, by the way, they're not. They're going to selfishly do it for what the hell helps their bottom line the best.
Right.
But at least there's a bit of a parameter on it for the time being. So it's so disappointing where college sports is right now, because you trust people in higher situations, I think, and we know this from all walks of life, that can be a dangerous thing. And I'll continue to tell you, one thing I learn as I get later in life, just because somebody has a title doesn't mean they're the smartest guy to make those kind of decisions, right? And that goes for everything. That's probably one of my biggest life lessons that I've learned, is that you can have a title and be in a decision-making position and all this stuff, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're really good at it or better than somebody else that probably could do that, maybe in your own organization or your own whatever. I mean, look, we know that from watching the Jags at times. Right? I mean, that's pretty crystal clear. So I don't know. I still am. Here's the long and short of it. The big part of the NCAA ruling, Hamby, is like $2.8 billion awarded to people in the last 10 years. So they'll get a pretty good payday to catch up. Now, if you're prior to 2016, this doesn't fit you, I don't think. I think it goes back to 2016. It'll be paid out over the next 10 years. They have to figure out through a formula who should be worth paying. So like a guy like Tim Tebow ain't getting a check, even though he'd be like the number one guy on this list.
Right.
But I would think a guy like Derrick Henry would be getting a check for this.
When was Manziel?
Manziel could be getting a check. He would have, I think he would fit. Maybe he wouldn't fit that. I don't know. So I don't know how I feel. I feel like catching people up a little bit isn't a bad. Is he too old?
Wow.
Catching people up a bit isn't a bad idea overall. There'll be a little bit of a cap on that, from what I understand too. Again, we can talk more about this with Nick Morrow.
Here's the one thing I do want to bring up.
I don't know if UNF even gets like part of that $2.8 billion, like the share. I'm not even sure.
Right. I don't either, and I think that's the formula and how they do that, and how many potential lawsuits could stem from that. It honestly could be endless, because they might be able to say you can't argue with the formula, but people are going to try to argue with the formula. Here's my biggest thing: if all the schools are getting $20.5 million, right? That makes me think that the SEC basketball is going to be a shell of what it was in the last couple of years, because my mind goes to the schools that have premier basketball teams, or at least that's their goal, and they do not have a football team at all. They do not have a football program. So my mind immediately goes to Villanova, Creighton. There's a lot of them, like in the Big East and stuff like that, where they can attribute, let's say, $15 million to their basketball team, whereas Florida can probably only contribute maybe $4 million. Right? If they're going to give $13 million, let's say, to their football team, then they're going to give $4 or $5 to their basketball team. They only got couple million left for everything else. They cannot give more than $5 million to their basketball team. Well, then Villanova is going to spend 3 times what every SEC school is going to be able to spend. It's not just SEC; it's the Big Ten as well. It's going to be a lot of ACC teams because they're going to try to keep up as well. Maybe not as much. Teams like Duke and UNC are probably going to Are SEC, Big Ten, are those schools going to get run out of the gym? Is every NCAA tournament champion in basketball going to come from a school that doesn't care about football or doesn't have a program at all in the next 10 years? And on the flip side of that, say Duke, okay, they want to win basketball championships, and they know that they're not necessarily going to win a football championship anytime soon. Are they pretty much going to not necessarily give up, but monetarily kind of give up? Are they cool with being the stellar of the ACC in football if it means they can outspend almost everybody else and guarantee that they're going to be better than every SEC school because they can outspend them? How are schools going to determine which programs get what? And I as of right now, how in the world is an SEC team going to win a basketball championship with this formula? I don't know how it will be possible.
I think it's a great point. Okay, so let's just take the Florida Gators, right? They're the close to home. We got big Florida fan base. You could take your Georgia Bulldogs, Florida State. You could take any team you want, right? Because most of the teams everybody likes here that's on the show, whatever, probably are playing in that Power 4 and have had some success. But Florida's had a lot of success. Florida's had success in basketball. Florida's had success in baseball. Florida's had success in football. And don't forget about the women's sports here.
Right.
Florida's had success in softball. Florida's had success in gymnastics. Florida
swimming.
At one time, their soccer program, their basketball program, and women's sports is the only program that's not any good. It really hasn't been any good. So, you got golf programs, you got all this other stuff. You got a lot of programs. But let's just take for the time being football, basketball, baseball. And again, you got to save some money here for some of the female athletics here. Right? You got to do some of that. So how are you divvying it up? Todd Golden is a national champ. How are you divvying up your dollars as he's building his roster right now? That's probably about $12 million or $8 million. How are you going to divvy this football up that you're trying to get football back on the map to pay players? You've got to be able, if you're Florida football, Hamby, right, to compete with Georgia and Tennessee and Alabama. Are they all going to cut the pie similar?
No, they're not. And it looks like Austen. I'm going to get Austen in here because I really want to hear what he has to say as he's gasping for air. Props to him for hopping right back in. Austen, with the new NCAA settlement, the question is y'all get $20.5 million, but everybody's going to divvy it up in a different way. Georgia's going to spend 16 of that on football. But that means that they're going to get worked in basketball by every school that doesn't have a football team, right? And I mentioned Villanova, Creighton; those schools are the first ones that come to mind. No football program, so they're almost saving $15 million. That's going right to the basketball team. So how an SEC school is going to compete with that, I don't know. Brent says, let's talk about just within the conference. Let's just say within the SEC. How much different is Florida's spending plan going to be from Georgia's, from Alabama's to just the big time football? But how different is it going to be? There's no telling, but they've got to be different depending on every school.
Yeah, Hamby, thanks for that long intro, by the way. As I catch my breath,
I wanted to give you a second.
Shake hands with the man upstairs right now, trying to bring my heart rate back down to at least the yellow zone right now. Listen, Hamby, when it comes down to it, the football schools will be taking care of football, right? Because that's what's generating the revenue. I think when we talk about schools like Creighton and everything, yeah, that's going to go towards a basketball program. But guess what? It should, because I don't really know Creighton baseball. With all due respect to their softball team, I don't know Creighton softball, but what I do know is Creighton basketball. So listen, I get hindsight's 2020 when we talk about the NCAA. What I would have done was take the percentages in terms of the revenue of how much that sport is generating and compare that to every other major school around the country. And then somehow in those percentages, that can make you decide, okay, well, maybe Alabama soccer, maybe they're really bringing a surprising, percentage. So let's take care of them. okay, maybe I was like Murray State baseball. Maybe now all of a sudden they're taking care of business a little more. So let's pay them a little bit. What it should have been is like, how much of the pie is each sport bringing to the table compared to their peers? I haven't read the article. I haven't done the research. I assume that's not going to be the case, and it's going to be the Wild West, but that's what probably should be done.
Well, there's a couple of things here too. Like I don't, and this is why we'll have Nick Morrow on later in the week, and we'll use like an hour to get some answers on this because it's fascinating. And I think one of the things does Murray State have $20.5 million to opt into this? Can you opt in and still not have the full allotment of $20 million? Like, does UNF opt in? I don't think they're opting in until they feel comfortable. You don't have to opt in right away. So not everybody's going to opt in. I saw Colorado State's a team that's going to opt in. I would assume all the Power 4 conferences feel like they've got to opt in. They're getting a big check from football revenue to be able to support some of this, right? But not everybody is. And so that's the other part. Like Villanova probably has it. But again, I use Murray State, who's been good at basketball over the years. I don't think they have it to fully utilize those kind of dollars. Here's what I like about it.
Brent, one thing, though. I'm going to say this real quick. When John Morant was there and when they were playing in the tournament, I forgot exactly how many millions of dollars it was, but they were generating a lot of money based off John Morant's name alone.
Yeah, and you might be right. Yeah. Like Butler is another one, right? Like Gonzaga's can take over they can take over the world in college basketball now, right? You would think, because they're going to really appropriate that. You know, people have spent a ton of money on baseball facilities in the last 10, 15 years, from Louisville to Florida State. Like, you're just going to let those programs die? They're going to have a gentleman's agreement that, hey, we're only spending 10% of this on this, so we have an equal playing field. What's the parity look like in college sports going forward compared to what it looks like now? I'm going to give you 3 things I think that I like about it. I think, if I understand it correctly. I think it's going to hold people accountable from like an AD standpoint and president standpoint. I think they're the ones that have to make these decisions. They have to make the decision where you're appropriating money. And when they do it, if they're right, nice job. If they're wrong, for you. You didn't make the right move. That's going to cost and be a costly endeavor if you're not going in the right spot. I think it's also going to put a little bit, these roster limitations are going to put accountability back on at least a little bit the coaches to say, hey, you can't just roll a million people through here nonstop. You've got to get your guys right. You've got to make good decisions. And if you don't make good decisions, you're going to pay. Mike Norvell, you make a good decision, you're going to have a chance at a Final Four. You don't make good decisions, you're going to win 2 games. And if you do that too often, you're out. So I think accountability comes back. The other thing I do like about it, if I understand it correctly, there are walk-ons. At one time, I thought they said there were not going to be walk-ons. And I think there are walk-ons, which I like that because you know us here, we promote high school sports a lot, and we really try to advocate for the high school athlete to get an opportunity to play at the next level. It is the hardest time to ever play college sports if you're coming out of high school. Point blank, done. The hardest time. And so I think that walk-on opportunity at least gives kids, a chance maybe to fill some of those roster spots, whether it's in baseball or basketball or whatever else, to at least get out there, show their stuff, and then we can have some good walk-on stories. There was a time I thought that we were done with walk-ons in this whole process. I think we in sports like the walk-on. We like the ability to see a kid grow, develop, earn a scholarship, all those things.
Well, yeah, you won us 2 national championships.
Yeah, I like we're keeping that. So exactly. We need those stories in sports. We want those stories in college sports. So that part is nice. Hey, Austin, we're going to give you a chance to lower that heart rate a little bit more and catch your breath because we've got to get a break. When we come back, I want you to think about this. Do you like the way Houston is building their roster? From the Chauncey Gardner-Johnsons to the older Joe Mixon, Donnell Hunters, to now the Nick Chubbs. They are really targeting veteran players and maybe veteran players right on the brink of having anything left. Is that a good way to do it? Does it make you scared if you're in Jacksonville? And we'll compare it a little bit to how the Jags have built their roster. It's coming up next on the Brent and Austen Show on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network.
When it's time to get a new car for anyone in your family, just remember, nobody but Nimnick, the #1 Buick GMC dealer in Jacksonville. Get the latest price breaks on 2023 and 2024 models or the newest 2025 vehicles in the showroom on Phillips Highway or shop online at nimnickbuickgmc.com 24 hours a day. GMC Sierras, Yukons, and the redesigned Acadias, or get the all-new redesigned line with Buicks. It's nobody but Nimnick, and part of the reason why is this is a first-class buying experience here at Nimnick Buick GMC. You're not just a customer, you're a friend. This is about getting a vehicle that best fits you and getting you on the road, and also helping you and your family down the road. Nimnick has a treating you right guarantee, courtesy, respect, fairness, and most Buicks, GMCs, and Jacksonville's only Car Bravo dealer, nobody but Nimnick. Who has put in the most years and stands behind a better experience? Nobody but Nimnick. GMC. We are professional grade.
If you look good, you feel good. And the medical professionals here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics are here to make you feel your best. I'm on camera every week, and I have a confession to make. I'm not always confident in my appearance. Can you see my dark circles? Is my makeup highlighting my fine lines instead of covering them up? I question it all. So when I found out about the wide variety of procedures here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics, I knew help was just one appointment away. Medical Director Dr. Megan Deacon Casey and her board-certified physicians have been using the latest in cutting-edge technology for the last 10 years, giving men and women their personal confidence boost. From Botox, fillers, Morpheus 8, and so much more. The hardest part was figuring out what I needed. Thankfully, the medical team walked me through what would work best for me through a free consultation. Come look and feel your best with the team here at Ponte Vedra Vein and Aesthetics. Visit them at one of their 2 locations, either over in Ponte Vedra or on the south side.
I've been telling you about CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing for a long time now. Their drinking water systems remove up to 99% of contaminants.
We've had a Connecticut water softener and drinking water system in our home for more than 7 years. You can see the difference whether you're washing clothes, the dishes, or what I like to do most, fill this up for some coffee every morning, and mostly all day. Remember, if you're not filtering your water, you are the filter. Don't be the filter.
Right now, you can get a free Connecticut reverse osmosis system with the purchase of a Connecticut Premier Softener. The experts at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing will test your water for free and determine your water score. Don't know your water score? CGC will find out and recommend the appropriate Connecticut water treatment solutions so you can improve it. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. Ask about our 90-day love it or leave it guarantee. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
Empower a future, inspire a dream. It's a bold but simple mission for the Jacksonville Police Athletic League known as Jax PAL. Help the next generation of kids in Jacksonville shape a brighter future. Their after-school programs, teenage leadership programs. There's community outreach.
This has been just an awesome opportunity to be out here with my colleagues and do something good for the community. It's really been an interesting opportunity to just see everybody work together in a way that we don't normally in the office.
And there's sports. There are also ways you can help the next generation with a donation of any kind. Just visit jaxpal.org to get more information. Empower a future, inspire a dream with Jax PAL.
Most of us know how to throw. But you need to know what to throw. I'm not talking about footballs, baseballs, softballs. We're talking about those items you need to recycle. Republic Services explains it easy. Recycling simplified. 1. Know what to throw. When in doubt, throw it out. 2. Empty, clean, and dry those materials. It takes an extra minute, but it makes a big difference. And 3. Don't bag it. This makes the recycling process faster and more efficient. This is a look at the Republic Services North Florida Recycling Center. You can make this process even more efficient. By utilizing those 3 steps, Republic Services can help you become a better recycler in your home. Learn more at Recycling Simplified. BTJTravisHunter.com.
Welcome back to the Brent and Austen Show, streaming on the Action Sports Jax 24/7 network.
Nick Chubb signed by the Houston Texans, and they continue to add veteran players. That's a big name now that gets signed by the AFC South champs for the last 2 years. How much of a difference maker will be along with Joe Mixon and part of that backfield with C.J. Stroud as well. Hey, everybody, welcome back. I'll put a bow on this show up until 1 o'clock today. Brent and Austen Show, Action Sports Jax 24/7 network. Austen down South Florida just got out of practice for his upcoming UFC fight. They call it practice now, probably training, right?
Yeah, man, we're not practicing anything. It's training. It's high heart rate, maximum intention. Yeah, so I wouldn't call it practice, training.
Yeah, I feel like it is funny. It's like weird calling it practice, but in a sense, it's still kind of practice. Like you're practicing.
Yeah, I mean, we are practicing for the fight, but I feel like in practice sometimes there's like a walkthrough and there's drilling. This is more of just, okay, treat it like a fight, but obviously don't hurt each other.
Yeah, Brent Martineau here up in New York. Jason Hamby, who we kind of hammer a lot for when he doesn't do a great job, has done a great job. Let's see if he can make it another 10 minutes with this show, but he's done a great job today on the show, so we appreciate him. Plus, he's pulled a little bit of a double from last night working news, and he's got the news coverage all week. It'll be Hamby and Casey and Austen most of the rest of this week while I'm up here in New York, so make sure you hang out with us 10 a.m. until 1 p.m. Have a lot of Jags coverage, of course, on the way throughout the rest of the week. I got one quick question before I get into this Houston Texans thing, because I just saw one of these around here. And Austen, you're used to this from living in Wisconsin, I think. I saw a chipmunk, and I was like, why don't we have chipmunks in Florida? Hamby, do you even know what a chipmunk is?
Yes, bro. I've seen Alvin.
Okay, but that's the only reason you know.
Well, no, I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen one before, but I mean, once you see Alvin, then you know what a chipmunk is for the rest of your life.
Kind of have a good idea for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think chipmunks are more of a northern thing, man. I think they kind of prefer the cold and like hibernating and stuff. They can't cut it down here in that heat. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I guess it's just I seriously just saw one as I was going to get a drink of water, and I was like,
yeah,
hey, I never see those anymore. I mean, it's pretty common. So some people know the chipmunks from Alvin, and some of us just have seen real life chipmunks. Hamby, someday we'll bring you up this way, and you can do that. All right, the Houston Texans, AFC South champs, last 2 years. Does the Nick Chubb signing do anything for you, Austen?
Because I mean, I'm going to be honest, like, you know, if you watch Nick Chubb last year, he definitely lost out on reps to Jerome Ford. You know, he came back from an injury. He wasn't 100%, and it showed. But I think in terms of a signing, like I like the Houston Texans simply because, yes, you have Joe Mixon, who's getting up there a little bit in age, but definitely had a resurgence last year. Had one of his best seasons, I believe, last season with the Texans. But like the reason why it scares me, Brent, because you have nothing to lose. I think with Nick Chubb, and Hamby, you can speak on this a little bit. I think with his attitude, his demeanor, and his work ethic, like he's gonna try to get back to the former Nick Chubb that he was.
100%.
And if that's the case, well, then that's pretty scary, right? And even if he doesn't, like I think you kind of got him at a discount a little bit, and you still have Joe Mixon. So to me, if you're on the Texans, it's kind of a lose-lose. You bring in a great locker room guy, you bring in a great competitor, and if he's even close to shades of his former self, watch out.
I don't know if you're jumping in here and be on your Georgia running back, but
my fault.
Yeah, I'm fascinated. No, you're okay. I'm fascinated with what the Texans are doing. Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, they're building off the Donnell Hunter and Joe Mixon days, Austen, which really worked out for them last year. You know, Kirk doesn't fit in this category. Kirk's still like in the prime of his career. Like that makes a lot of sense to me. You know, a little bit of patchwork with a guy like Cam Robinson, but even he's a younger guy. So the Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, the Nick Chubb, it feels like, wow, those are really good players. They've had really nice careers. They can be really good. Like the upside of those guys could be difference makers. And I said to Hamby earlier, it feels like these are maybe exclamation point possibilities for the Texans to say, hey, we know we can win the division. Now can we go win a Super Bowl? I don't know if that's enough, but it's like if it works, those guys can really help you advance in the
without a
playoffs.
doubt. I mean, I think the teams that are always like they're not satisfied, right? They're always swinging. Like, look at the Eagles. The Eagles can have a loaded roster. I feel like Howie Roseman, they're still going to keep on swinging. They're still going to try to reload and maybe even upgrade in some spots. I get the vibe that Houston's really trying to do the same thing, right? Where even like you go back a couple years when they had a pretty solid wide receiving core, that wasn't good enough. Let's go ahead and bring Stephon Diggs in. Now, obviously, hindsight being 2020, he gets hurt and everything, doesn't play the full season, but you get what they're trying to do. They're trying to swing for the fences. They're always trying to upgrade. Now, in some spots like Cam Robinson, is that maybe a little bit of a downgrade from Tunsil? Absolutely, but I think the coaches there have faith that they're going to coach him up right and at least try to match Tunsil, at least be close to what he was able to produce.
Yeah, so here are some of the moves. This is just from their starters, guys, that they've made this year on offense. Jaden Higgins, a second-round draft pick. Kirk they bring in from the Jags. Cam they bring in from Minnesota by way of Jags. Laken Tomlinson on the line as well. And now you'll add Chubb to a backfield that already has Joe Mixon. On the defensive side, they just brought in Chauncey Gardner-Johnson. I mean, they are keeping basically their whole starting defense from last year, which was one of the best in the league, so that makes a lot of sense. So they added a couple of draft picks on defense. They had a couple of draft picks on offense like Jalen Noel as well and an alignment. So we'll see how those guys factor in. But, yeah, it looks like a good football team. The other thing we haven't really talked about, though, is C.J. Stroud, Austin, soreness, not even throwing at OTAs. How much of a red flag is it?
I mean, honestly, I'm not going to worry about it until it's time to worry about it. I think if he's sitting out OTAs, from soreness, that's fine. He's got plenty of time to, I think, whatever it is, whether it's a bruise, some discomfort. Obviously, you want to err on the side of caution, especially on this time. So I'm not too concerned about it right now.
Yeah, I think they're obviously the team to beat the AFC South. What I would wonder is, or I don't feel like at least, the separation we don't think is massive between the Houston Texans and everybody else. What happened in take Philadelphia last year and what they've been able to build, when they do make a move, it feels like, holy cow, that just separated them, another 5 notches when they bring in a Saquon Barkley. I guess the good thing for the rest of the AFC South is they might be making some moves. They look like they're a little bit better. They're buying into a little upside, but it doesn't look like on paper they're running away from everybody else in the division.
No, it doesn't. But at the same time, I mean, in terms of the division, and regardless, we'll see what the Stroud is, close to 100%. But
he's still by far the best quarterback until proven otherwise. I think you trust Ryans right now over anybody in terms of coaching. And I'm not proud to admit that. But once again, we still have to see it from Liam Cohen. So you have the quarterback, you have the coaching. It's hard not to like the Houston Texans right now, unfortunately.
All right, who I like today is the Murray State, man. Baseball team goes for a win over Duke. You locked in?
Oh, Brent, am I locked in? Yeah. Hey, sorry, Monday Night Raw. Gonna have to push you to the side and watch you on Tuesday because Murray State playing tonight at 7:00 Eastern. Check your local listings. ESPN primetime, Brent, the only college baseball game going on, I believe, tonight. So I think the last time the Racers were hosted that late on ESPN, I think it was when I played against Brian Brom and the Louisville Cardinals. When we by the way, and shout out to Gary Barnage as well, where we almost shocked the world. Ended up losing by 70, but almost shocked the world in the first quarter, and then just couldn't pull it together. It's all good though. But yeah, man, Murray State got the bats going yesterday. Hopefully they can keep it going tonight. And then obviously if they win, I think, going into tomorrow's show, which I'll be on for the last half of it. And Hamby, I want you to bring some research too as well. If Murray State advances, we got to start asking the question, can they compete with the Atlanta Braves?
Oh boy. Yeah.
The way,
the answer's
Hamby,
already yes. I don't even need to see if they win tonight.
Oh, come on, Hamby. I need some better energy because, Milwaukee and Atlanta are getting ready for their series starting tomorrow. So,
well, enjoy your sweep.
Right.
Yeah, go ahead and enjoy your sweep. We're freaking pathetic ball club, and I'm sick of it.
Brent.
I literally texted my buddy.
Are we traveling to Omaha?
No. Listen, I texted my buddy, I think it was on Saturday. Yeah, I said, hey, I need you to text me every 30 minutes starting at 4 from 4 to 7 o'clock to make sure that I'm not watching the Braves. the Braves played the Giants starting at 4. He didn't text me, but I ended up being busy, and I might have to tell that story tomorrow of what I was doing. It was the most menial task in our new apartment, of which I never thought I would have to do, but that's part of it. No, nonetheless, I was busy, and then we go to dinner right at like 6:25, and it's right in time. I look at the score for the first time. The Braves are up 2-1. I'm like, holy cow, we're going to win a game for the first time in a month. So I watch it. We go single, and we're trying to close it out. Single, out, walk-off bomb. And that's literally, I watched the game for 3 minutes, and that's what happened. And I'm like, I actually cannot believe that this is my life.
Yeah, it is your life. That and doing menial tasks as a newlywed. So congratulations on that too. Hey, I will say this: I don't think there's anybody that hates Duke baseball, but I do think the whole world, if you're watching this one tonight, is rooting for Murray State. So that's pretty cool. What a great story they have become. We'll see if they make it to the College World Series later on tonight. All right, guys, have a good rest of the day. Austin, see you back at it tomorrow. Hamby, nice work. Casey's in tomorrow as well. Jags have mini camp, so we'll have some stuff from the Jaguars mini camp the next few days. Thanks for hanging out with us on the Brent and Austin Show on the Action Sports Jacks 24/7 network. Have a good Monday, everyone.
Let's go Racers.
Are you about to graduate high school and haven't decided on what you want to do when you get done? Well, one option is to apply to become a student in the Electrical Training Alliance of Jacksonville. Their program offers structured classroom and online training, along with on-the-job training so that you can earn while you learn. Still not convinced? The folks at ETA Jacks are a tuition-free 4-year apprenticeship program. There is no tuition and no student debt. Just pay for your books and your fees. That's it. Now, speaking of pay, students, they start off making $40,000 per year, including benefits, and they graduate, get this, making over $80,000 per year, including those sought-after benefits. Now, that sounds pretty good to me, and if that sounds good to you, it should check off a lot of boxes. So head on over to etajacks.org and apply by May 15th. Again, the website right here, etajacks.org. Don't wait, apply today.
People helping people. It's at the core of what Alive Credit Union is all about, and it's been that way for over 70 years. From the start in 1954 to today, the mission remains to inspire financial wellness and give you a financially fit lifestyle. Alive Credit Union and its employees are committed to not only serving their valued members, but also our community here in Northeast Florida. I had a chance to see that commitment firsthand as Alive partnered with our Action Sports Jacks 24/7 team to bring you Armada men's and women's soccer broadcasts. Inside the 18, it is a shot, and it's a goal! Chloe Chivers! And that connection to the community continues with Alive Credit Union's support of the Police Athletic League of Jacksonville. Alive Credit Union's commitment to our community also involves serving the financial needs of all first responders through the recent merger partnership with City and Police Federal Credit Union. Join the community and become a member of Alive Credit Union today. Find out the many ways you can be inspired in financial wellness at alivecu.coop.
You trust CGC to make your water great, and now you can trust CGC with your plumbing needs as well. Fast, convenient scheduling, licensed and insured. A quick call away at 904-552-1242.
You never know when you're going to have an issue with a shower, toilet, or maybe it's a sink that sometimes is easy to fix. All right, let's be honest. I'm not fixing anything. I'm totally staging this because when I have a plumbing problem, I call CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing.
Trained professionals, transparent pricing, customer satisfaction. Small problem or even a bigger issue. Save 10% off any water heater plus no trip charge. The experts with 25 years of experience at CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing can do it all. Call 904-552-1242 or visit cgcwater.com. For a limited time, CGC is waiving the trip charge on all related plumbing calls. CGC Water Treatment and Plumbing, an authorized independent Connecticut dealer. Florida license number CFC 1432579.
For the game day hustle and every day in between, juggling my show Jag Social to going under the Friday night lights and a social life, it's a daily tournament. But this ride, MVP status. The all-new 2024 Lincoln Nautilus isn't just my car, it's my personal locker room, office on the go, and VIP lounge on wheels. Let's talk tech. my profile remembers everything from customizing my dash display to setting the ambient lighting and my signature scent. And wireless charging, essential for live tweeting scores. Whether I'm packing for a beach day with friends or heading to the gym, there's space for every passion.
After dominating all day, this becomes my recovery zone.
The massage feature is like having a